I'm Katie Maloney, I'm 37, a divorcee, and I'm out here falling in love every day with myself.
And I'm Dana Cathan, 33, former needy mess, and delusional Leo, but I've never been happier.
Never been happier.
You know that.
Good.
The foundation of this podcast is for people who want to live their life unapologetically. It's a safe space for anyone who's going through a transition in their life or just dealing with the regular bullshit.
It's a religion.
We're not saying that we're looking to start a coven, but that might be why we started this podcast.
But we're not saying that. Join our cult. Community.
The coven.
Religion.
Okay, let's just stick with community.
Listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast.
You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another incredibly dramatic, much anticipated episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. Times 2 this week. It's been an incredible week. So many of you obviously tuned in to the Gypsy Rose episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, don't know what you're waiting for, but it is out. It's available now. Be sure to check that out. We'll get into a little bit of what it was like to meet Gypsy and Ryan in just a moment. We hung out with them Friday night after we got a chance to interview with them. It was a really incredible experience, truly.
It was really fun.
Yeah. Oh, hi, babe, by the way.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you would finish your spiel.
Yeah, no. Justin's here. Allie's in
St. Paul, Minnesota.
Somewhere. Yeah. Almost
Somewhere.
in Canada.
What
he
is
never
that?
knows where I am, and then every time he goes, she's in St. Paul, Minneapolis.
What is that photo behind you? Is it
Yeah.
Italy?
I got this in Italy when I was in middle school.
You got that in
from
Italy.
a street
Yeah.
vendor.
All right, so you're in Italy.
No, you're in Italy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Allie's in Italy.
I'm in St. Paul, Italy.
Italy.
Well, as you guys know, this episode, we have Clayton Echard as our guest to share his side of the story of what's been a whirlwind of paternity dispute that he has been involved in. That is our guest, and he came in. When did he come in? What's the date? What was the date? I think it's important that we mention
December 22nd,
I believe.
Yeah, it was
22nd.
Friday, December 22nd
Yeah.
at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay, so he came in on December 22nd, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. It was a Friday. Yep, it was. I had talked with Clayton a few times while this story was unfolding. First, I really just texted him, "Hey man, just checking in on you." Wanted to make sure he was okay. And then I had talked with him a few times, got more information. I got his side of the story from his point of view. He shared with me some details, and I offered him an opportunity to come on and share it on this show if he wanted to. And eventually he took me up on that offer. So we let him come in, and he was very much ready to tell his side of the story at that point. And he sits with us. It's a long episode. It's 2 hours of Clayton, really starting from the beginning. We're going to let you guys decide for yourselves what you think of his story. We'll give commentary on what we think on Reality Recap next Tuesday. But right now, this is Clayton's story. These are his thoughts, not ours. These are his opinions of his experience. It was really important for us to focus on Clayton's side of the story. So for those of you who don't know any background about the story, at one point a few months ago, at the time, an anonymous person went on, I believe, some sort of anonymous blog, right? And told the story that she was pregnant with Clayton's twins. And that's kind of how it started. We are going to focus on Clayton here and not necessarily focus on her. So we're not going to say her name or reveal any information about this person other than the fact that she exists and Clayton has had several interactions with her. But we want to be mindful of the fact that we don't know this person. So we're not going to be doxing their information or anything like that. As Clayton will mention in his episode, regardless of what you believe or don't believe for this story and however you feel, we don't in any way condone any type of internet bully or harassment of any kind. We understand this is potentially a very sensitive episode for some people and triggering episode for some people. This is very much a he said, she said story. And obviously there's a lot of sensitive issues around, believing women, which is very important to do. And this is an opportunity for Clayton to tell his side of the story. We'll let him share his side of the story and go from there, I guess. I do want to say, for the person he is speaking about, if they are listening, if they would like the opportunity to come on this show to share their side of the story, or if they want to dispute anything, that Clayton says about the experience, we will give them the opportunity that we gave to Clayton. So if that's something they're interested in, we will offer that to them.
Yep.
So.
We're here.
All right. Before we get to Clayton, is any other things I mean, honestly, it's been such a crazy week. We haven't really been able to cover reality recap all that much. We do have Gabby Wendy is our guest next week for reality recap. We'll probably get into a lot of housewives that we haven't been covering because of the Gypsy Rose episode and the Clayton episode. So that will be fun to catch up with Gabby. Certainly we'll get her thoughts on the Clayton of it all. So that should be interesting, obviously, with their ties. And we love Gabby on this show, obviously a very entertaining person, and we love her commentary on all things pop culture and housewives. And we also have some just incredible episodes coming up. We're not going to necessarily tell you when, other than Allison Holker, our next week Going Deeper. If you're not familiar with Allison's story, she is a wonderful person, but the wife of Twitch, also known as Stephen Boss, who died by suicide about a year ago, very tragically. And Allison hasn't really spoke on it publicly ever since. And so this is her first time speaking about it. She's got a wonderful new children's book out that she wrote with Stephen before he passed. And we are very grateful for Allison to give us the opportunity to have that exclusive with her and talk about that experience. And I think it's a very uplifting, obviously it's a very sad story, but I think Allison has a very wonderful message. And I hope you guys tune into that next week. In addition to that, other interviews that we have dropping in the next few weeks, we have Kylie Russell coming in. That will be dropping soon. Yesterday, we had the very interesting experience of interviewing.
Interesting.
Interesting is
that
a
was.
good word, yeah.
It was the most wild 2.5 hours.
I think Nick and I talked about it after, and we were like, if we told y'all after the episode, like,
what we experienced, you wouldn't believe us.
no, I was like, Nick, I'm so glad I was on that episode with you, because if you came home from work and you tried to tell me how that went, I wouldn't believe you, and it wouldn't be as good as what actually happened.
Yeah.
It was truly unhinged.
I was texting Natalie and Justin saying, what are you feeling in person? Because I'm thousands of miles away and my butt cheeks are still clenched.
The tension in the room was just
palpable.
You couldn't fake that. You couldn't fake any of that.
No,
It was
got
just, yeah.
We don't want to give too much away, but know that it is coming out in a few weeks or a couple weeks. We haven't decided yet, but it is locked and loaded and ready for your enjoyment coming shortly. We have some more bangers lined up to share with you, but get excited. We are dedicated to continue to deliver to you quality programming that will get you talking with you and your coworkers for some time now. As always, we just want to thank everyone who supports this show. I hope that you get a chance, especially if you're new to this show, to listen to Clayton's story. Again, we're here at least 3 days a week. Monday, you typically, other than when we're interviewing Gypsy Rose and Ryan. Ask Nick on Monday, Reality Recap on Tuesday, and our Going Deeper episodes on Thursday. If we love to focus on relationships and dating, pop culture, and everything in between. So please subscribe, tell your friends, and check it out. Anything we want to add about our experience with Gypsy and Ryan?
I genuinely think that, and I think they also told this to us, but like, I think they genuinely enjoyed sitting down and doing the podcast with us.
Yeah.
I
They've
think
told
a
me
lot.
multiple times.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of her interviews, obviously she was on a press tour. She's promoting the documentary. Like, I think a lot of people are like, why is she doing so many interviews? It's like, this is what happens when you are promoting a TV show or a movie. Like, you go on a press tour. And I think a lot of people really hounded and like kind of gave her a hard time, and she couldn't really get comfortable. And so I think it was really nice to see her in that setting where it was just, she was laughing, she's joking, she's having fun.
Well, that was our goal, right? I mean, we are very lucky to have this show in the platform that this show is, and the long form kind of show. Obviously with this Clayton interview, it's a very different vibe. By the way, we don't have texting office hours that we normally do on our Going Deepers, just because of the nature of this interview. It's just kind of very different and very heavy. But with Gypsy, and most of the time with our guests, like, my goal always is to have you all who listen in to have hopefully a newer and better understanding of the guests that we have. And the goal is to feel like you guys are in the room with us, hanging out among friends, and we get to get into heavy stuff, and then we get to get into lighthearted stuff. And it just feels like, again, you're hanging out with us, and it's always fun, and that was our goal, to try to like, who is Gypsy Rose? Who is Ryan? What is their relationship? And it's nice that we have a chance to sit with them, talk with them, have them get comfortable. And that's when the good stuff comes out. That's when people really open up. And we were really grateful for Ryan and Gypsy for giving us a chance to talk with them. And I got to say, listen, like there's so many opinions out there of Gypsy and Ryan, but from where we stood, I again, like I said to her on the interview, it seemed clear to me that if nothing else, she has been someone who's invested in therapy. And I don't know what the future holds for her. I'm sure she'll make mistakes along the way, but she truly seems like someone who's actually putting in that effort and actually doing the work to try to make positive changes in their life. And certainly met in an untraditional way, but Ryan really seems like a stand-up guy. I really enjoyed talking sports with him and history with him, and which sounds silly, but like he really comes across as just like a normal guy who really cares for Gypsy. And who knows what will happen if they work out. I mean, it's they're taking a chance. They very much met in an unconventional way. They're taking a chance on each other, but I'm definitely rooting for them. And, we'll see what happens in their life. But she was very impressive, very articulate, very thoughtful. And considering everything that she's been through, from the abuse of her mom to going to prison and coming out, I mean, again, you compare our conversation and the shit show that was. Gypsy and Ryan really just shined.
Truly.
And so I just wish them nothing but the best. That was my biggest takeaway. As normal as you could imagine, that's what it was like hanging out with them.
A lot of our listeners are saying that like out of all of the interviews they did, we had the most normalizing one, or ones where it felt like she was just existing and talking, versus like I think I talked to Natalie about a couple other like interviews where they were pushing a narrative, and even Gypsy herself like kind of had to clarify or kind of try to reclaim that narrative herself.
Yeah.
And we gave her the opportunity.
Well, that was our goal.
To just exist. Yeah.
Because we knew, she's going to do the GMAs and, The View and other ones. And it was going to be just like an interrogation on for some of them. And it's like, listen, that wasn't our job. Our job is to, people are fascinated with who is Gypsy? Who is this person? What does she think about? What is she interested in? What does she want to do with her life? Who are you? We like to think that we offered her and Ryan a good, hour and a half plus of having just some like conversations about life. So it means a lot to hear that feedback from people. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. If you, again, haven't listened to it, check it out anywhere you listen or watch or our show. We appreciate it. You
guys took them out to dinner after?
No, we went to a viewing party.
Okay.
For the documentary, and there was just a handful of people there. It was a small group, and just got to talk to them a little bit more. And we took that prom photo with them.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of chilled. It's been really interesting. It's about time to get to Clayton. Gabby Windy is with us for Reality Recap on Tuesday. We'll get into a lot of the housewife stuff we haven't had a chance to mention. I mean, obviously the Salt Lake City reunion's going on right now. It's
boo. Boring.
You thought it was the first one was boring?
Boring. Did we not? I mean,
listen, all I really care about is the reality Von Teese topic.
They're
and
gonna
Black
get to
Eye.
that.
They're gonna wait to like episode 3.
Yeah. I think just for people watching, just know that like for Monica's position after the reunion, Whitney, Meredith, and Mary followed her back.
Interesting.
So I think when you watch the behavior of how they're interacting, that gives insight.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll get into that on Tuesday. Probably get in some Beverly Hills. Just your reality recap. Traders is coming out soon. We'll be talking about that. So lots to get excited about. And again, we'll share our thoughts about this interview coming up. So enjoy. Be respectful, please. We'll see you on Tuesday. Oh, Monday too. For Ask Nick. Yeah. All right. Clayton Echard, everybody. Article believes in delightful designs for every home. Well, I know it to be true because we are the beneficiaries of some beautiful Article pieces in our home, are we not, baby?
No, we truly are. Our backyard is this beautiful oasis with the
Truly.
comfiest, most amazing furniture, and it's all because of Article.
All because of Article and our neighbors across the street. They, I told you guys, like a few months ago, showed up in this big Article truck and
We
really
robbed it.
splurged. We did not.
No, we did
We
not.
wanted to.
We did think about it.
Article, I mean, whether it's indoor furniture, outdoor furniture, it doesn't really matter. Article has it all. Their curated assortment of mid-century, modern, coastal, industrial, Scandi, and boho designs make furniture shopping simple. Article's team of designers are all about finding the perfect balance between style, quality, and price. They're dedicated to thoughtful craftsmanship that stands the test of time.
Oh, yeah, it is. And they'll send you updates every step of the way.
They will. They make the shopping experience incredibly seamless. You really just go to article.com and you look at their array of furniture.
You
And the-
choose what you want,
Choose you want.
and then you blink, and then it's at your house.
Bam.
So fast.
It's almost that fast. That's the best part about Article is they actually have an inventory of their furniture, and you can receive most pieces within a few weeks or less. You know, a lot of times you're furniture shopping and it's, months, weeks, so many weeks. Not with Article, no. And the best part is the savings are passed on to you because they don't have those expensive showrooms or things like that really just jack up the prices because they have to, pay for office space and employees and all those things. But not Article. Article is offering our listeners $50 off their first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Drizzly, the number one way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep when you need it. We love Drizzly for so many reasons. Their convenience, their ability to make you the greatest gift giver of all time, even if you forgot about the gift that you need to send up on the day of. You can punt on thoughtfulness and just wait to the day of and send them their favorite beer, wine, or spirit, and they'll still think you are a hero.
Or alcoholic-free options for your pregnant
all those
friends.
pregnant ladies out there. Whether you're at a party that you do not want to leave, but you need to restock, maybe it's that thoughtful gift. Maybe you simply just do not want to drive to the grocery store, but you want to pour a nice glass of your favorite wine. They have a wonderful selection. Your all-time favorites like Don Julio Reposado, Kettle One, Bullet, bourbon, and some of the unique ones, a great assortment, a variety, a lot of selections of things that you've never heard of that you might want to try. So many wonderful reasons to use Drizzly. Again, the number one app for alcohol delivery. So download the Drizzly app today or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com. Drizzly.com. Must be 21 years or older, not available in all locations. Drizzly. Clayton. Welcome to the Viall Files.
I mean, I was wondering what time, when I would finally come on to it. And
well, it's not your first time in person. It's first time we got to meet in person.
that's what I was wondering. So we did once before, but it was.
I think you were on twice virtually.
I can't even keep up anymore. I have no idea. But now here we are in person.
You've had a lot going on.
To say the least.
You have to do How's Your Heart?
Yeah. Well, I haven't asked this in a while, Clayton, but how is your heart?
It's actually really good. I know everything I'm about to share is going to make you think that this answer I'm giving is how is it possible, but I'm actually in the best place I've ever been. I think all the adversity I've faced has made me become really resilient. Didn't really have any other choice. It also kind of reminded me of all the support I have around me. During these times, I've had a lot of people that have just kind of been right behind me and helped push me through. And, I had no choice but to grow up and just face this head on. And I feel like I found myself through it all.
Okay.
I'm in the best position I've ever been, and I'm happier than I've ever been. Some people can see all these changes I'm making, but it's because I no longer care about what strangers think about me. I've gotten to a point where I only care about the people closest to me, and anyone outside of it, it's like, if you like me, great. If you don't, it's fine too. But yeah, I found this self-love through this incredible journey, and now I'm just doing the things I've always wanted to do. So you're seeing that in the dancing, the earrings I have, the perm I've gotten, my style.
This is a perm?
It's a perm. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's
And I got no
fake.
problem
Well,
saying that.
you don't have naturally curly hair?
It flips at the ends, but I took it a little farther. Yeah.
Took it a step farther.
You got a perm?
I got a perm, man. And
what made you decide to get a perm?
I just had a good head of hair, and I just
You
felt
do
like
have a great head
I
of
need
hair.
to do something with it. And I don't know what my inspiration was for it. It just one day popped up in my head, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And yeah,
He said, "I need some curls in this bitch."
and
So
you
you
know
got some
what?
curls.
It's been great.
Well, I guess I want to start this conversation by just kind of asking you, like, why are you here?
Because I want to set the record straight. My character has been attacked once again. I've had now 2 false accusations, which most people don't have one in a lifetime. I've had now 2 in 2 years, and I just don't feel that it's fair. And I've stayed quiet. I've tried to let the truth just come out, and it kind of has, but uh, I didn't realize what I was up against. This individual in particular is doing much more than I ever thought that they would do. And for a while, I was in disbelief that this was all my actuality, but then it became that. And here we are now, 8 months into this whole ordeal, and it's as fake as it could ever be. I got all the evidence to prove it is. Yet justice hasn't been served. I was kind of hoping that the court system would handle that. Things are still up in the air with that. But some recent releases by this individual online, basically quadrupling down, claiming they're the victim of cyberbullying and painting, themselves as the victim and as me as the aggressor. I just had it. That really tipped me off. And, I just want the truth to come out. So I'm going to tell everything that everyone wants to know about this situation. I have nothing to hide. I'm too transparent for my own good, but I want it out there once and for all. And with all of this, I do want to say as well that, again, I just want justice to be served, and I want my story to get out there. I don't condone any harassment. I don't want anybody hearing this going after this individual. I just want the truth to get out, and I want justice to be served, but I do not condone the harassment of this individual. And I also have never said her name. I will not say her name on this podcast. So I have never once put her identity out there. She put it out there. She's the one that defamed herself, and we can talk about how that happened. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you're willing, let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
How did this person enter into your life?
She reached out to me on LinkedIn. I just got my real estate license, and she popped up in my inbox and said, "Hey, I've been trying to get a hold of your brokerage. I really want to buy, some investment properties, and I just saw that you joined this group. I haven't heard back from anybody, so I wanted to see if we could have a conversation." Me, being naive, was like, "Oh, this is so great. I just literally got my license, and someone now wants to work with me within like 3 weeks." So, of course, I sent over my phone number, and then we start texting. And from the very beginning, this individual was already, being flirty, but I've kind of just been used to that. I've had that happen with people, and I'm like, it's fine. As long as we don't cross the line, I'll stay, professional. And so we were talking about setting up some times to see some homes. And then one night, I was heavily under the influence of weed. I took an edible, and if anything, that's my vice. I'm not really a drinker.
No judgment here.
It takes the edge off. And I will say, I found I was actually coping with weed at the time, just because of prior to all that, I was still struggling with some things with just, the outcome of blowback from online, and still hadn't found myself at that point. Again, this was 8 months ago. And I was struggling with some things that happened right around that point. And so, I just took an edible, I ordered some pizza, and this individual texted me. And again, it was just cordial at first. And then she sent a provocative image, and it just, I wasn't in the right state of mind, and I just essentially told them to come over. So she did.
Sent the photo unsolicited, just out of nowhere. Like you weren't like,
I wasn't asking for it, but if I remember correctly, she was saying some flirty stuff, and I kind of was like,
you're flirting back.
Yeah, opening the door a bit. And then she sent that. So she comes over.
So it wasn't totally out of pocket, but you guys were having a banter.
Yeah, exactly. And so she comes over, and we hook up. But this is the important part to explain. There was no sexual intercourse. There was no penetration. She performed oral twice on me. It's important that I state that because, again, this individual is now claiming that she's pregnant with my twins. How do you get pregnant if there's no sexual intercourse, one might ask?
Well,
I don't know.
yeah.
So let me tell you what I was concerned about that night.
Wait, so twice though.
Yeah. Once, and then later that night after having, no, I'm saying too much. There's certain things I don't need to get
He's
too
a
in the
young-
weeds about.
You know what? Maybe I'm just aging myself. I'm like, bam.
Back to back.
There was maybe 5 hours in between. Okay. We'll just say that.
Okay. 5 hours.
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can give you. I don't want you thinking you're too old here, man. I'm 30. You're not that much older, I don't think. So that happens, and then I guess we'll just go straight ahead, and we'll come back to like some of the things I was going to say. So performs oral. The next day we wake up and we meet back up to go see a house, and I just felt bad about it. I was like, I crossed the line. That wasn't professional. Like, this is someone I'm supposed to be working with for business, and that was not professional. So I need to. I also didn't really explain my intentions. I need to let her know like that was a one-time thing. Normally I'm good about doing that. And so I felt bad. I was like, she's going to probably feel used. And that was wrong of me to not explain my intentions. And so I need to have this conversation. So we go see these homes. And at the end of seeing them, I said, hey, can you come out to my car? I want to talk to you. She's like, yeah. We sit in the car. I said, hey, I messed up last night. I was like, that wasn't professional of me, for one, as it's someone that's going to be your realtor. I was like, I crossed that line. I said, if you're not feeling comfortable, I'm happy to push you over to one of my other agents. I was like, again, that was on me. And I said, also, I just want you to know, like, that was just a one-time thing. I'm not looking for anything serious. And I feel really bad because I should have told you that before we, engaged in sexual activity. I said, so if you feel like you possibly felt used because of that, I totally understand. I'm just really sorry. She just,
That's mature.
yeah, I'm trying to grow up. So I say that, she breaks down in tears right away. I'm like, that's weird. Because I just met this person. And then she said, I just thought we had something really special. Would you be willing to like give this a chance? I think that we could really be something special. I said, no, again, that was a one-time thing. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen again. She's crying. She's like, please give me a chance. And I was like, no, I can't. Like, that's that. She says, okay. And then gets out of the car and walks away. So then she messages me and she's texts me, says, hey, I think at that point she was kind of like, I understand where you're coming from. I just, I thought maybe this could work out. And I said, hey, I'm not looking for anything serious again. Let me know if you're comfortable still moving forward. She's like, yeah, I'm comfortable moving forward. Like, I only want you to be my realtor. So then she's like, I want to write up 2 offers on a home. And so we put in these offers.
What do you mean 2 offers on a home?
So she wanted to write up offers to put down for investment properties.
She wanted to buy 2 properties all at once.
Yeah, one for herself that she'd live in, and then one for investment.
Okay.
So
it went right back to professional talking.
Is that normal for someone to just want to buy 2 houses at once?
Well, so I asked, of course, I wanted to make sure that where the money was coming from. She had a hard money lender, so that she had a private, company essentially giving her the money, not having to put down any money of her own, and then she'd pay them back at a higher interest rate. She wanted to do something called creative financing. To be honest, she was extremely intelligent. She actually is very smart. I'll give her credit. She's very smart, which is why she's so dangerous, because she was throwing real estate terms out, and I was, month in, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And I told her, I said, hey, I just started. The things you're saying, I'm Googling right now. I'm trying to learn as I go. I'm talking to my broker. I said, but you're very well versed in this. And she was, and I was impressed. And so the way she was speaking about real estate, I'm like, this is someone who's definitely serious, because she's talking about all these things that I just went through all, the realtor school and all this. And they didn't teach me a lot of this stuff. It was very unique. And so I was impressed, and I thought, okay, this person's for real. And she sent me over the proof of funds from the lender, and I'm like, this is legit. So she said, I want to send over these offers. And she said, at the time, what I thought was a little odd was, she goes, do I need to sign something to, so that you're my realtor, like that we're working together? And I said, it's no worries. Well, we'll sign that once you submit your offer. She's like, well, I want to sign it right now. And I was like, you don't have to, don't worry. Like, we don't have to lock you in for anything. Like, you'll just sign it whenever we do the deals. So I thought it was a little weird. I was like, why is she so adamant about wanting to like get under contract with me as her agent? But I was like, whatever. She's just really excited. So Then she's like, can you submit the offers? And I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and submit them. And I said, I'm gonna send them over to you. You got to sign them, and then let me know, like, when you get them, we'll talk through it on the phone, or we can meet up in person. She sends them back right away. She's like, good, signed. I was like, did you read them? Like, that was less than a minute, and that's like a 10-page document. She goes, I trust you. I was like, okay. She said, let me know like what they say. I said, okay. And then she sends me a text. She says, just was thinking about everything that happened, and I just really don't know if I can move forward with you as my realtor if you're not going to give me a chance. And I said,
is this right after she signed those documents?
It was within like a few hours. Yeah.
Interesting.
And so I said, listen, I'm really, I don't want to take this any more seriously than what happened. Like, again, that was a one-time thing, just reiterating everything. And she said, I just don't know if I can work with you if you're not willing to give this a chance. Like, would you be willing to take me out for drinks? And I said, I'll take you out if we end up closing this deal, and we'll have a celebratory drink. She goes, okay, a date it is. Like, you can call it whatever you want. She's like, I don't like that you're calling it, saying that. Like, why can't it be called a date? And I was like, again, I'm not trying to like have this be serious like this. Like, let's keep this very business oriented. So she said, we'll just send them over, the contracts over. Then I'm like, let me just wait for, a second. And this is where I just felt like I was like, something's off. Like, she's going to pull back. I know she is. And so I have the messages ready to go. But I didn't, I was like, okay, I'm going to wait to send them just because like, I feel like I'm going to get another text here saying like, I can't do this. Sure enough, 2 hours later, like my intuition kicked in. It was right. She was like, you know what? I actually can't do this. If you're not going to move forward, like, and try and give me a chance, then I can't do this. And so I send back, I'm like, hey, listen, you're going to make me look terrible.
So she's basically saying, we need to go on a date for you to be my agent and close this deal.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was like extorting you for a date. It sounds like that's kind of how it sounds to me.
And at first I was like, well, we'll go out for a celebratory drink. Thinking maybe she'll just get the hint and she'll back off.
But she's not even like tiptoeing around it. She's saying, we need to go on a date, or you need to date me, or go on a date for you to get this commission. And to clarify, these two offers, what's that? What would have that been in a commission for you had that closed?
It's funny you say that because she used that against me later on. She said, so it was about $1.4 million in business, which would have made me 30 to 40K in commission.
Okay, so
30K
nice check.
probably. Yeah, 30. Nice little check. Yeah.
Yeah. So
so good money. So she says, okay, I can't move forward with you. Like, I can't do this. Like, unless you're willing to date me. I said, hey, I sent these offers over. And so I said, so I, need to, like, you gotta be like, let me know right now. Are you going to back out? Or are you going to see these deals go through? She's like, there's 55,000 other realtors in Arizona. I don't have to go with you. I can go with somebody else. If you're not willing to give me a chance, then like, I just can't do this. And I said, you're going to make me look so bad. I just started my in this position as a realtor. Like, now I got to go message these agents and they're going to, not take me seriously. And I said, so I go, what is it? Are you going to move forward or not? She's like, I just can't do it if you're not willing to give me a chance.
Because you would have put in the offer and then been like, never mind.
Yeah.
And
that's why, again, and this is, yes, I told her I submitted them when I didn't. And technically I did violate my fiduciary duties, which I'm okay saying that because, again, we'll talk about how she used that against me. But I violated them for good reason because I knew something was off. I was like, this individual is not going to follow through with these deals. So she ends up saying, I can't move forward. I said, you know what? Then I'm not going to represent you. And she was just like, well, no. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I'll give it a chance. I said, no, I don't feel comfortable. Like, I'm done. We're not going to do this. I'll forward you to another agent and my team. She's like, no, I don't want to. I don't even know what to do. Oh my gosh, I'm panicking. Like, what's the status on the deals? I said, don't worry about the deals. I said, I will forward them like right now to an agent and they will just literally put their name on it. And then they'll take all the same terms. You'll pick up right where you left off.
And in theory, you are handing over a potential $30,000 to $40,000 paycheck.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to ask for a single bit of it from anybody. I was like, just take it. I don't want this. So she's like, do you understand? Like, I know I don't feel comfortable. I've only felt comfortable with you. Every other agent I've talked to, they don't make me feel like I can do it, but you've empowered me to do this. And I said, listen, I'll send you over to my broker, my lead agent that's been doing this for like 10 years. He's incredible. He knows way more than I do. You'll be in great hands. He's taught me everything I know. She said, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. I said, she's like, well, I just can't. Can you check on the status of the deals? I was like, there's no response back. I said, again, like, you need to find another agent. She's like, who else could I go with? I said, I sent over a list of agents. Like, I Googled the top agents in Arizona, sent her a screenshot. I go, here's 5 of the top agents in Arizona. You can take any of these ones as well. What do I do? I said, again, you are going to take the documents that you signed, you're going to bring them to this agent and say, can you take over this deal?
So once she realized you were done, she started to panic.
Yes. So again, she would have still been in the driver's seat. She would have still gotten these deals. It was only a couple hours after the fact at this point that when I said I originally sent them. So then she's like, I can't, no, I'm not going to move forward with anybody else. I said, well, we're done. I said, we are done, you and me. We are not working together. So I severed that. And I said, let me look into, I was new. I said, let me look in to see if there's documents that, where like it shows that we've severed this working relationship. She's like, no, I don't want you to send that over. Like, can you please give us a chance? I was like, no, I'm done. So then the next day she basically sends me an email saying, I'm going to forward this to your broker, and because you're not willing to do these deals, and I'm going to check on the status of what these deals are. So she ends up pushing them actually over to the agents, and the agents go, we never got these. Boom. Well, she comes back. What's going on? Why, you said you sent them. You did, but you didn't send them. But you told me you did. You violated your duties, and this is a violation. You could lose your license. And so I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. And so I basically tell my broker, here's everything that's going on. She's going to write you some email that she's saying right now. And so she does. She sends over an email to them. He lied to me. $1.4 million in business.
At this point, have you told anyone that you had a romantic interaction with this person?
At this point I went to my broker. I was like, hey, this is a weird situation. But I need to tell you about this. Like, it's off. This individual is like, not just, it's weird. They're like trying to date me. And if I don't date them, and now they're threatening me. And so, to like trying to figure out the status of the deals. So then when she realizes these agents are like, yeah, you never sent them to us. She's like, I'm going to file a complaint to the AAR. And that's basically like the oversight for the, in real estate in Arizona, Association of Arizona Real Estate. And she goes, and also to the ADRE, the Arizona Department of Real Estate. She's like, I'm going to file a complaint with them. She wanted to get me fired. She wanted to get me to lose my license. And she said, because what you did, I can't allow anybody else to have to go through with this.
By telling her that you sent offers
Yes.
that you actually didn't send.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, why isn't she? So one of the agents calls me and he's like, hey, we're going to take this offer. And I said, hey, I'm not representing her, but you can take this offer. And you can represent her. The terms are already spelled out. You're just so you can get additional commission. Take it, please. Like, I just want this to be over with.
So once again, you are foregoing
Yes.
your $30,000 to $40,000
Yes.
paycheck.
So he calls her. She denies it. She's like, no, I don't want to work with you. So she had every chance to take over these deals. She didn't lose these deals, which she then later claimed to the ADRE that like he lost me these deals. She did not lose them. She was in the driver's seat. She could have taken the deals over. She denied it, wouldn't work with any of my other agents, wouldn't work with the guy, the listing agent. Like, she had all the ability, but she was not ever serious about buying real estate.
Are these communications going on over the phone, via text, via email?
Email. I have all this as evidence. So one day I'll release it all, because again, I think everyone needs to know the full truth and have it all out there. But for now, again, like, I'll show a few things today, but yeah, it's all at this point documented. So I end up she files a complaint, ADRE rules on it, and they say, while you did violate this, considering the evidence, we're not going to punish you. Thankfully, they saw through it and saw that like this individual was trying to force me to date them in order to do the deals. And so
did you have to show them her trying to date you, the
Yes.
proof of that? Okay.
Yes. So I sent them everything, all my text messages and the emails leading up to that point. So then she said, oh, I need to talk to you. If you're not willing to work with me, I said, I'm going to file a police report. Like, I'm done. Like, please stop messaging me. And she said, well, there's one more thing I need to tell you. That night that we were intimate, after I got up the second time that we engaged in sexual activity, I felt some of your fluid down there. She said, we had a fertility clinic come in, and I know I'm fertile. And so I'm concerned your fluid was down there, and I haven't been with anybody since March of 2022. There's a chance that, I could become pregnant.
What timeline are we at? How long has it been?
This was 5 days after her and I engaged.
So this is all going on.
This
This
in
all
a
happened
week.
in 5 days.
Yeah, it was a lot at
Wow.
once. I think that text message happened before. Yeah, that happened before the ADRE. The ADRE, I think, was started happening. She started threatening, and then she filed, and then like basically they ruled on it a month later. Yeah, so much happened, such a jam-packed point in time.
How many days after you guys hooked up did she come to you with this, I might be pregnant?
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't mean to get into the bedroom with you, but how did she feel some of your fluids down there if it was only oral sex?
Yeah. So she said that from the first time that she performed oral, the second time that she did, she's claiming that after the first time that we were grinding on each other, and some of the
Were you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was claiming that there was like pre-cum or like fluid left over that like got into.
Were you both naked?
Yes.
And so she's saying that just from grinding, there was no.
Wait, she said so the first time you have oral sex, you climax.
Yes.
And then 5 hours later, you hooked up and
she
you're
was
grinding. And she's
yes.
saying that whatever was left over from 5 hours earlier.
Yes. Which would have been dead by then.
So you only climaxed once.
No, twice. But after the second time, there was no grinding after. The grinding occurred as we were leading up to the climax of the second time.
Yeah. So oral sex, climax.
5 hours.
She's claiming that
Movie,
he didn't
dinner.
clean up and there was like
Yes.
some crusty Claytons on the top of his penis. Sorry to sound crass. And
Yeah,
she's
well, that's what it
claiming
is.
that they dry humped naked,
Yes.
had some grinding on, and
Yes.
that crusty Clayton
Yes.
somehow impregnated her.
Yes.
Is her allegation.
That was one of them, yes. So she claimed that. But then what I was concerned about was then 11 days later from the point that we engaged, I said, basically after the 5 days, I said, this is ridiculous. There's no way that my fluid was not down there. You're making this up completely. Like, I'm done. I'm blocking you. So I block her. I then get an email because she had my email, because she had my realtor email. And on day 11, I get an email, I'm pregnant, and there's a positive pregnancy test. I'm like, of course I see the positive pregnancy test. I'm like, how? I'm like, there's no way. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, how could this have happened? Like, there's no way. And she's like, we need to talk. This changes everything. And so I'm like, there's no way. How? I can't put it together. I'm like, how? So I basically then start responding back on email, and I'm like, I don't believe this. Like, all we did was you performed oral. And she's like, yeah, but when we were grinding each other, like some of your fluid got in me. And I was like, that's just like the likelihood of that is so low. Plus, like,
Allie just said she'd asked a doctor about this scenario. She just currently in real time.
Yeah.
And this doctor says there is no way. It does not live on the skin for that many hours.
yes. So, but here was what I started to think. She's like, I swear to you, like it's true. And so I'm like, well, this
You got in your head.
I got in my head, and I thought, I don't think it's from the grinding. I said, but the second time, whenever I climaxed, she went straight to the bathroom. So this is very
She spit.
descriptive. Well, she carried it, I thought, into the bathroom, and I thought she might have spit it in her hand and then inseminated herself. That was my fear at that point. Because
At this point, your brain's going down a rabbit hole.
Because I was like, this individual's not acting normal. Like, I didn't follow her to the bathroom. Maybe she like spit it out and shoved it up there. And so
Allie, can you ask this doctor if that is possible?
I Googled it, and so very low likelihood in both scenarios, but not, I suppose, impossible if she would have ran straight to the bathroom, spit it in her hand, and then had maybe like a test tube or like a vial. I don't know. Like, again, my mind was racing at this point. I'm like, she might have had a kid or something. For all I know, I'm like, this again.
You don't know how this works. You're right. You've
and I'm
never.
a guy that is just like, I don't know. She's claiming it. Here's a positive pregnancy test. So she's like, we need to hang out and talk. And
I mean, yeah, I've gone down mental rabbit holes when I was a teenager, from like going to second base with girls and then panicking, being like, what if she got pregnant? As guys, we can psych ourselves out.
Yeah, but also
certainly.
too, I'm getting an email from this woman with a positive pregnancy test.
Right. There's that.
So you're trying to figure out.
So I'm like, well,
You're taking her at her word.
Again, I'm taking her to work, because at this point, I'm not aware of what I'm dealing with. So I'm like, I did. Oh my gosh. Like, how? So then she goes, well, since I'm pregnant now, I'll take abortion medications, but I'll only do it if we date exclusively for 2 weeks.
How did she communicate that? Via email?
Email.
You have an email of her
Yes.
stating this?
Yes. She basically said that she started to say, hey, do you want to have an abortion? And I had said at one point, I said, I don't really want to have kids with you, but it's your body, your choice. So ultimately, you can choose what to do. I would just not like to have, a kid with you. And at the time, this was singular, one kid. It's important I note that for later. So she said, well, I only, take the abortion meds if you date me exclusively. I said, that's not going to happen.
Is that in this that we have up here?
So yeah, the reason why of all the emails I have, this one says a lot in one
This
email.
is one email
This
from
is just
her.
one of 500s. So basically, yeah, she says, we need to meet up, and I said, no, I don't want to meet up. Basically, like I said, let's just wait until the ultrasound, and then we'll go from there, and then do a prenatal paternity test. And she said, why do we have to do that? Like, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to tell you. And I was like, well, I need to just for confirmation. And so she said, okay, we'll do that, but we have to wait. Obviously, an ultrasound, the earliest they can do it is 8 weeks. So can we meet up before then? And so I'm like, I said, well, I was like, okay, go ahead and come over. So I have her come over because I think at this point, I'm like, maybe I can kind of talk her out of this, because she's basically saying I'll only have an abortion if you date me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm dealing with. So I'm like, let me just have her come over. So she comes over, and we talk for 2 hours, and I'm like, listen, like this again, like you can choose what to do, what you want with your body. Like, but I just really don't want to raise kids with you. I don't again, you can have full control custody, or I'll have full custody, but I just don't want to do this with you. But again, ultimately, whatever you choose is your decision. I also at this point purchased a pregnancy test, because I was like, I don't believe this one individual. So I tell her to come over so we can just talk, but I actually was just setting her up for the pregnancy test.
Mm-hmm.
Right when she walks in the door, she's like, hey, I'll take a pregnancy test if, it's just, and, if you have one. I don't know if you do, but I took one this morning and I'm definitely pregnant. So I said, yeah, actually I have one. Can you take it? So she takes it, and it comes back and there's 2 lines. And I'm like, damn.
Does that mean she's pregnant?
For that test. It was a very faint second line, but yes, it showed pregnant. And I was like, wow. I'm like, okay.
Now, did you make her pee in front of you? Did you give her privacy?
I made sure she didn't bring anything to the bathroom. So unless there was, again, I know this is getting crazy, but unless there was something up there that she pushed up her body, which again, it sounds crazy, but the more I tell you, it's not
Everything
out of
about
that
You would
place.
believe
sounds-
anything.
yeah.
At this
So, but I felt pretty good at that point. I'm like, she didn't bring anything to the bathroom. And so I'm looking at it, the 2 lines show up, and
You're like, holy shit.
I'm like,
she's pregnant.
she is like, wow. And she's like, well, you just so where do we go from here? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry for not believing you. And we can keep an open line of communication, and I'll definitely be there for you. And we'll just go from there. And so the next day she's like, I really want to try to give this a chance between us. Like, now that I'm pregnant and you saw this. But I said, I go, hey, I can't give us, I'm not willing, I don't want to date you. I said, but I'll be here and I'll support you through this pregnancy, and I'll have open line of communication, but we need to, we need to go have the ultrasound, do the prenatal paternity test. She's like, what are you talking about? What, you obviously don't believe me if you're asking for those things. Well, when she left when she left that night, I didn't feel right. I'm like, something's up. Yes, I saw the positive test, but something is up. I don't feel good about this. So I started Googling medications that you can take to test positive for a pregnancy test, because a pregnancy test is just, all it's showing is that you have the hormone HCG in your blood. So what do you know? I pulled up.
Urine.
Sorry, urine it. Well, I think blood too.
Yeah,
possibly.
blood too. Yes.
Yeah. But in that case, yes.
Yeah.
And mind you, I guess at this point, she sent me another test at this point from her. She went to the doctor and they did a blood draw, and there was HCG in that as well. So I'm like, okay, but all you've shown me at this point is you have HCG in your system. So I said, hey, you could possibly be taking medications that are causing your HCG levels to be increased and produce a false positive. She also mentioned to me earlier that she was epileptic. She took anti-epileptic medication. That's a medication that can cause an increase in HCG. So I said, hey, did you know this? Your anti-epileptic medication could be causing this. She's like, that's ridiculous. I've been taking, my meds for years, and this, I've never once, come back positive for HCG. You're just trying to find a way out. I'm pregnant. And I said, well, it's just something we need to, consider. So I want to, wait until the ultrasound and then the prenatal paternity test. Until then, I'd like to cut communication. And so she was like, that's ridiculous. Like I showed, I was pregnant. And I said, again, I just want to cut off communication until then. I just don't believe you. So then she starts sending me these emails. And so this is one of them that then came out.
So she sent this email after all of that.
Yes. She started sending me emails every single day.
Okay.
Just saying like, you need to be there for me. I'm stressing out, and what happens, like my blood pressure's increasing, and there's a chance like that this could harm the baby, and our baby could have, some type of condition because of you. You need to be there and support me. And so, gosh, there's so much of the story that I'm remembering that's popping up. So I then say, hey, can I talk to your mom? And she said, why would you want to talk to my mom? I said, because I just want to talk to your mom on the phone. Can I talk to her? And she said, sure. So I get on a phone call with her mom.
Before this email.
Yes. That's why this is important that I bring all this up, because all this stuff is important. So I get on the phone with her mom. Her mom's like, why, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, I want to talk to you because your daughter is claiming that she's pregnant. I'm not going to say she is or she's not. I don't believe her truthfully, but that's okay. You probably do as her mother. I said, but I have a problem with what she's saying to me. She's basically saying either we date and then she'll get an abortion, or if we don't date, she's going to have the kid. And I said, it doesn't feel like a really good reason, like to either have a kid or not have a kid. Like she should either want to have the kid or not want to have it. But
it should have nothing to do with me.
It should have nothing to do with me. I said, and she's
also, it should be like almost the opposite. But
well, it's just, yeah. I mean, I'm like,
if we're gonna date, then let's move forward as a family. If not,
yeah,
but
yes. Well, she said this in emails. If we decide to date, then like we can have an abortion, but then have a kid again when we want to, not on purpose. So I said, so I'm on the phone with her mom, and I said, I don't want to date your daughter. I said, so don't you want your daughter to be with somebody that's like, that wants to be with her? I was like, I just don't want to be with your daughter. So I'm just being honest with you. And she said, well, you got my daughter pregnant, so I would think you would step up as a man and give my daughter a chance. I said, excuse me? I said, I just don't, I don't want to be with your daughter. I said, she can do whatever she wants with her, with the kid. I said, and have it or not have it. I said, but again, I don't like, she's basically saying that me not supporting her is stressing her out. Like, I'm not willing to support her. I don't want to be with her. Like, and so I'm just letting you know that. So can you just talk to her and tell her like, that's not how she should decide whether or not she has a kid? And she's like, it's just honest again, like, you got my daughter pregnant, and I would think that you would step up to the plate. And it's really, just honestly, it's saddening that you won't take responsibility for your actions. And so I just go, you know what? I see where this is going. I said, I'm sorry. I called you. Have a good one.
What's going through your mind at this point?
Well, at that point, I'm like, wow, I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Because I'm just, at that point, I'm blown away. I'm like, how is the mom saying this? Like, I would expect her to go, yeah, I can't believe that she said that. Okay, I'll talk to her, thinking that she would understand where I'm coming from. Hey,
I can see it being more about her grandchild having a father and not about her daughter having a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That the daughter having a boyfriend, that seems insane. But her saying like, you got my daughter pregnant, you need to step up and like take care of this child. Like,
yeah, and she said,
I can understand that from a mother's point of view.
But she also said, she goes, I think you haven't given my daughter a fair chance. She's someone that would be incredible, and I think you guys would be great for each other.
Oh, so she was trying to like convince you to date her too.
Yes.
Did you remind her that you don't know anything about her daughter and that?
Yeah, I think within that conversation, I said, hey, like, it was a one-time thing, and it wasn't meant to be more than that. And like, I don't want to like downplay your daughter, and she probably is great, but I said, I don't want to be with her. I said, so that's all it is. There doesn't have to be an explanation. I don't want to be with your daughter. It's that simple. And she's like, why? I think you should give her a chance. Like, it's unfair that you got her pregnant. You're not willing to give her a chance. So that was a shock to me. And I'm like, wow, like, that's not what I expected you to say as the mother or as anyone that's reasonable. So I go, okay. So I get off the phone. I'm like, that didn't work. And so from there, she continues to send emails, and I'm like, hey, let's just wait until the ultrasound. So I think we can talk about this email now. So if you want to read it all the way through, and then we can discuss.
I come home tomorrow afternoon. So if you want us to consider an abortion, this really is our last chance because of timing and the fact that neither of us would want to end the pregnancy once there is a heartbeat. I would like to get together tomorrow night to talk and explore intimacy. It's time for you to make an effort if that is something we are considering. Obviously, I would love to have sex in the future and feel like I am the safest person you could have sex with since I'm pregnant. But if you really think, like you said yesterday, my goal was to date and get pregnant during this time, we can absolutely hold off on it. However, it occurred to me that you might believe me more about paternity if you were inside of me and felt how tight I would be after not having sex in more than a year. Maybe then you'd believe I hadn't been sleeping around. And again, you wouldn't be doing me any big favor. Having sex with me is a privilege and not something I have done for a long time.
What point is she trying to make there, do you think?
So I think for one, she's trying to explain why we should be intimate. And again, I'm the safest person you can have sex with. I'm already pregnant. But this is where I was concerned that I was like, okay, if we are intimate again, she's going to actually try to get pregnant. Like this is she's not, but now she's going to actually try. And that's why she's saying, let's just explore intimacy. She said a lot of times, she referenced how I don't care that you were the bachelor. I didn't even know you were at first. And I don't watch the show. And I don't even care. Like I grew up in a wealthy family and I dated millionaires and I don't care. Like, and that's why, again, having sex with me is a privilege. Like she always would try to make it seem like, hey, I don't care who you are, it's a level playing field. And I never acted like I was above her, but I think she was always trying to make it seem like in her head that like, I am good enough for you and I am the best that you could find and we are compatible. And
interesting to bring up the like elasticity of your vagina while in this conversation.
I think she was trying to like in that moment, hoping I'd read that, like an erotic novel and be like, oh, I'm turned on. And then like, the male brain would turn on and I'd just be like, come over or whatever. So I think she was trying to entice me with that.
Okay. It goes on to say, if you either don't get back to me tonight or if you give me the final word, you don't want to date and choose the outcome of the pregnancy, we are 100% having the child and there is no going back. I mean it, and I am at peace either way. My mental health and well-being is affecting our child, and I would blame you. If we have special needs kid and discover that my stress, hormones, and blood pressure caused that, I just need you to make a decision. So she's already saying if this child...
She's already threatening you.
Mm-hmm.
It would be your fault.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly, given the evidence I have given throughout the process that I have put together in the attached Dropbox file, I am pregnant. I have proactively worked to arrange prenatal paternity tests myself, which should prove to you that I know you're the father. There really are only these two outcomes. So if you want to keep believing there's not a pregnancy or that you're not the father, you will be sorely mistaken and it will be too late for us to consider an abortion. I would have no issue going to the media after the prenatal paternity test to explore your horrible treatment of me during this time and lack of compassion despite your mission. So we get another threat.
Basically, yeah, she says she threatens to go public to the media. She says, if you don't support me, my blood pressure will be risen, and it's gonna cause these kids to have, issues. And then she says, you highlighted right there. I'll give you the decision whether or not we have an abortion. So she tries to make it seem as though I have, a choice in this. But again, it's always with the stipulation that I date her.
If you would stay with me for a few weeks to get me to have an abortion and then block me and go MIA as you have in the past, please don't make that decision. I am talking about really giving things a shot in a different way than either of us have in the past, since this is a unique circumstance. If you wouldn't be excited, don't make that choice. If you're truly not into me, I would rather stick with my morals and have the child. I'm only considering an abortion because I know that's what you want. So if that alone doesn't make me stand out from other women, good luck finding one who would care that much to sacrifice their own values and morals because they believe in your mission.
What's this mission talk?
We talked about like my goals in life and such, and so she thought that she could be a part of my future, basically.
At this point, have you actually ever asked her or suggested that you want her to get an abortion?
She asked me earlier, like, what do you want to do about this? And I said, well, hey, to be honest with you, when we talked that one night, I said, I would like for you to have an abortion.
Okay.
I said, that's
You
my,
did say that. Okay.
Yes, I did say that to her.
Okay.
I would trust and respect you enough for you to make the decision on your own as to whether or not we have the abortion. Do you realize how big of a deal that is for me to offer? I would love to be a mom and would want that in the future more than anything in the world. But God and you, depending on what you decide, are responsible for deciding when that is. If it is now, I would be thrilled. But I really do believe in you and the message you want to spread. So please show me the faith in you that isn't misplaced. I would also be so appreciative of the consideration you would be showing for my feelings and why it would be important for me. I would promise to keep everything that happened between us. You need to understand that allowing you to make the decision would be the biggest leap of faith and sacrifice of my life. So if you don't appreciate that, go find someone else. We will move forward with having the child. If you don't respond, I know you will end up regretting because I am offering to give you not just a say, but the say in the outcome of our pregnancy. In my heart, I think we will both regret not exploring the abortion option because there will be no going back after this. Please let me know your decision, and regardless, please be kind. Hope we are on the same page, and in that case, hope to see you tomorrow. If not, I genuinely mean when I say congrats on being a dad.
Yeah. So
There's so much back and forth there.
yeah,
She like desperately wants to be a mom, but also in her heart thinks it's best that you guys get an abortion, implying that in her heart what's best. Ultimately, it all goes back to her wanting to have a chance to be in a relationship with you.
yeah, and it was very manipulative with a lot of things that she'd say. She would say her great grandmother almost had an abortion but didn't, and because she didn't get one, she's here today, but she wouldn't be. So that's why she's so opposed to abortion. She also mentioned that her dad, who's dying, is, this is the last time that he's going to have a chance to see, me have a child. Otherwise, like the next time that I might have one, he won't be around. So she's throwing all these things out and just trying to guilt trip me. But again, I'm like, I would never told her she couldn't have the child. I just was like, I'm not going to, be there with you through it, because I saw how manipulative she was.
So you didn't want to raise your child with her?
No, because I felt that I already at this point had heard enough. And I'm like, this individual is not mentally sane in my eyes. And I don't feel that it's only going to destroy me if I raise this child with them. So
At this point, do you think she's still pregnant?
no, I really had an intuition that I'm like, she's making it up. Like, we need to get to the ultrasound. So that was the next big stepping stone. I go, hey, let's just stop communication until the ultrasound. Well, she wouldn't.
And it's been, you're going to have to keep doing this. It's
Yeah.
been how long since?
This one was probably, this is about a month in at this point. Week 4, week 5, probably.
So she's saying that the positive pregnancy test showed up how many days after?
11.
11 days after. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is that possible?
Allie, is that possible?
According to Google, I think it's like the quickest 10 to 11 days. And I Google all this because, of course, I was trying to figure, I was
You
trying to
learned
catch
a
her on
lot
anything.
in this
Yeah.
experience.
So you apparently can
I'm-
at like 10 to 11 days.
Okay. But now at this stage, you're like, all right, I'm not getting anywhere with her. Let's move to the next phase, which is there's a doctor's visit you should
Yes.
probably be having if you're pregnant, and we'll do an ultrasound, or
Yes.
you'll do an ultrasound rather, and you'll either provide or not provide me further proof that you either are or not pregnant.
Yes.
Did you respond to this email?
This one, I don't think I did to this one, but I did basically respond to probably a few that she sent after the next coming days. And I was like, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do going forward. I'm not going to send you another message. We're going to wait until the ultrasound. Then we're going to do the prenatal paternity test. And then we'll go from there and make a decision.
Okay.
So she's like, great. Can't wait. Well, we got to wait 8 weeks. So, and then it's boom, message. And so during these 4 weeks, that we're waiting for the ultrasound, she sends an email to my parents basically saying, hey, your son impregnated me. She sends, another letter to my broker. She sends a letter she starts Googling and finding that I'm speaking at these mental health events coming up. So she starts Googling these organizations. Hey, this Clayton Echard got me pregnant and he's not stepping up to the plate. My mental health is struggling right now. I'm having these dark thoughts and he doesn't care.
So she's basically trying to reach out to anyone that she is aware that you are associated with, and
Yes.
trying at this point
Mhm.
already, to take down your character.
Yes. Then, as we approach the ultrasound, she then gets lawyers involved, and the lawyer's like, you need to interact with her. And I said, hey, let's hop on a phone call. Hop on the phone call with the lawyer. I said, I haven't even seen like any proof other than a positive HCG test. And so I said, until we get that, like, I don't have any reason. Like, I'll talk to you guys, whatever you want me to do, but like, there's nothing else to talk about. I said,
Is this like 8 weeks now? This is around
so right
the
around
first.
that point. Yeah.
Okay.
So like 2 days before, the lawyer goes, well, what do you want to do? Are you going to show up in person? I said, I don't want to show up and see her at this point. I don't feel comfortable being in the same proximity as her. I said, but I go, what she can do and what I'd like for her to do is FaceTime me when she's there at the appointment so I can see the ultrasound, so I can talk to the doctor and we can clear this all up. And so she goes and tells this individual. This individual's like, great, I'll do it. Can't wait. And then like a day later, she hits me with a message saying, I just feel that, if you're not going to believe me, I don't feel safe that you like know my whereabouts. And I just don't feel comfortable with you knowing that I'm going to be at the doctor's appointment at this time. So, I'm going to reschedule it because I want my sister to be there to see my kid for the first time. And she's like, I want her to be there. So I'm going to reschedule it. So I'm like, of course. So 2 weeks pass and then like just to reschedule it. And then as it's approaching it again, she's like, I'm going to FaceTime you. And then it gets to the point to like do the ultrasound again. And she goes, I don't feel safe because you've said some things that you would hate me if I were to have the child and this and that and the other. And so I don't feel safe. So I'm going to reschedule it, but I'm not going to let you know when I reschedule the ultrasound for her.
Did you say that you would hate her if she...
I said at one point when I didn't believe her, I said, would you please stop harassing me? I don't believe you. And I legitimately will hate you if you bring me through all of this and it not be true. Like you better be telling the truth. And so, yeah, I did say that. So she used that and said, you're threatening me and I don't feel safe. And so I'm going to reschedule, but I'm not gonna let you know when I have the ultrasound. So I'm like, of course, because you're not going to go. So I was like, well, I'm not getting that. So she even says, she's come out public, said, I invited his family. Yeah, well, my parents lived in Missouri and they weren't going to fly out. And she knew that. So she was just making these blind, offers, baseless offers.
When did she take this public?
So, yeah. So basically,
how far along was
that
she?
was, so then we get to, yeah. So she doesn't go, whatever. She does the ultrasound, doesn't do the ultrasound, whatever. I don't get a hold of it. So then she takes it public in, I think, September. So it was in May, so June, July, August, so 4 months later. So I just was not responding to her. And she finally is like, you know what? I can't handle this. Like people need to know that you're being a deadbeat father. And so I'm coming out public. And again, the timing was, she did this on purpose. I was the host of a local reality pickleball TV show. So she basically says it'd be a shame, especially I know with you doing the show, but like you can't just keep living your life as is while I'm the one carrying, a child. You're acting like you're not carrying a child, so you get to just basically act like this isn't even happening. So I'm coming out with it, but I'm coming out anonymously because the world needs to know. So then she decides to she's like, I'm going public, and then I get reached out to by the tabloids. First it was Page Six. And so I go to Page Six, like, do you want to comment? I tell her the full story. And she says, okay, well, we're not really sure if we're going to run with this. But thank you for your side. I then get reached out to by the Sun, and the Sun says, hey, listen, she's talking to all these different organizations. Like, we're going to release this. I said, on what evidence? She said, well, she's claiming you're the father. I said, yeah, all you have is a positive HCG test, right? Do you have an ultrasound? Do you have a paternity test? She said, no. I said, well, then how can you even prove that I'm the father? She's like, well, she's claiming you are. I said, that's not enough proof. Like, do you understand what you're going to do to me? You're going to ruin me and my reputation. And she said, well, this could be a good thing for you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, all press is good press, right? And I was like, no, that's not it.
It's crazy.
She said, well, we're going to run with it. Is there anything else you want to comment on? And I was like, no. And so I'm like, whatever. So they release it, and they release it. And it's like day 2 of me on this pickleball reality TV show.
Allie, do we have that Sun article that you can bring up, or Justin? I'm just curious what the headline was.
So it's released. Of course, my phone's blowing up. I'm getting all this backlash online. Yep, we knew it. He's a douchebag. He treats women terribly, just like he did on reality television.
Yeah, Bachelor Clayton X fling pregnant with twins and demands he takes paternity test.
Yeah.
No, so
That's
they released a
September
story saying that she's demanding you take a paternity
So
test.
she flips it then, and as she comes
Yeah.
out with her story and says, he won't take a test. when I was trying to all along, but then she makes it seem like I'm dodging the test.
When did it become twins? Because the first time it goes public
They said it's twins at that point,
is
correct?
twins.
Yes,
This is
okay.
September 18th.
So it would have been a month or two before that. She started to, as I wasn't responding to her, she's like, hey, I carry the twin gene in my family. And there's a chance that like one of the first ultrasounds that I did, which she wouldn't show me, but she's like, I did an ultrasound to get the abortion meds. So she got these abortion meds that she was like, I'll take them. And I wasn't going to tell her to take them. I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'll take them, but only if you meet up with me. And I was like, I'm not meeting up with you. I'm not dating you. Like, you can do whatever you want. She's like, well, then I'm going to throw them away. And she's like, I threw them away. And then she's like, hey, I just went to get an ultrasound again, like to possibly give you another chance to take these meds.
And this is all over email again?
Yes, this is all over email. And I apologize again. Like, so much happened that I knew I was going to mess the timeline up. Like, it's just, there's just so much, and it's hard to say like when, because she was just messaging me 5 times a day for 5 months.
We need a Venn diagram, but it's okay.
Yeah, people posted stuff online like when it got like that's a rough timeline, but all the details are kind of hazy. But
It's okay.
so she then says, you know, hey, I carry the twin gene, and then you know, then one day she goes, hey, I just went to get the abortion meds, and they said, I didn't look at the ultrasound, but I saw, but they said that there was 2 gestational sacs, or there was like, you know, signs of twins. And then about a week later, she's like, it is twins.
So this is like the second time that she has foreshadowed something or predicted something and kind of give you a heads up. Hey, this could happen.
Yeah.
Only for it to
Happen.
allegedly happen.
So then she says, yes, there's twins. Like, now do you want to meet up? Like, I imagine this changes everything. Again, trying to scare me. Like, if it's not 1, it's 2. Well, I'm like, no, it doesn't change anything. I don't believe you still. Then when it goes public, I realize she's like, he's not going to do a paternity test. And meanwhile, like now, like, I'm like, that's not true. Like, I've been trying to do it all along. And so meanwhile, as she goes public, then we start kind of engaging again via email. And I'm like, take the test. And she's like, we can't do it because like I looked it up and they won't do a prenatal paternity test on twins, like only if it's 1 kid, but there's 2. And I was like, that's why you chose twins. So I'm like, she's like, we can't, I would love to do the test, but we can't do it because there's twins involved. So I'm like, no, I don't believe it. Like, there's got to be some solution. I just believe, I'm like, if someone has thought about it, somebody has come up with it. So she's like, I've called 5 facilities. She's sending me calls. She's video calls, or audio calls. She recorded these individuals. They're like, yeah, we can't do it if, you know, if there's twins involved. So she's trying to convince me like, we can't do it. So I'm Googling, boom, I find this facility called Ravgen. And so I'm like, hey, found Ravgen, like we can do it. She's like, great, can't wait to take it. But are you will like, but again, I'll only do it if you date me. And I'm like, no, forget it. Like, that's just ridiculous.
So she's still at this point trying to convince you to date.
Yeah.
And we're 4 months in?
Yes. So
and there's still been no ultrasound at this point?
No. At this point, so when I talked to her lawyers a month prior, I got an ultrasound that they showed me. You can go ahead and skip to 5. It's the 5th one. That's what I got.
Okay.
So I did a lot of Googling, and I know all ultrasounds are all different, but like it just looked off. She put down at the bottom, it looked like it was all wonky. It had the gestational age, and it showed the date that we were intimate, 5/20.
Where's her uterus?
No, you tell me, because I don't know what that looks. I mean, that's
5/20/23. That's the date you hooked up?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I don't think
It would be the date of her last period.
Yeah, so you would know this. People told me that was, they don't know, they wouldn't put that as far as the date that you.
Yeah. Why?
received.
So but why does this matter? Natalie, can you explain this?
I mean, if they're putting any sort of date of conception or like they, you know, for us, it's like your expected delivery date is based off of the day of your last period.
Okay.
So that's how you do the math of 9 months and how you do the 40 weeks.
So this alleged date that's on
The
this
date of
ultrasound picture, we would like when we found out that you were pregnant, we went in for our first doctor's appointment, and then you told our doctor the last time you had your period, and that's the date that would have been on the ultrasound, like that.
My ultrasounds have no date on them besides how far along I am.
Gotcha.
So that
That
is
in itself
already-
is already weird.
Yeah, and I Googled and I asked people, and like they apparently they'll have like the GA, and then they'll have it shows like 6 weeks and this many days. Apparently they do a guesstimate of conception or something
Gotcha.
along those lines. But to have the actual date of like
The day you hooked up.
yeah, I couldn't find anything, and everyone else said that's not really on there. But I got this, and so I asked her. I said, okay, can I talk to can you release your medical record so I can talk to that facility? She wouldn't agree to. I'm like, what? Well, let me talk to a doctor. Like, why can't you just let me talk to a doctor? She's like, no, again, I'm not letting you talk to these doctors unless like, you give me a chance to date. Always the same dating, every time. Dating stipulation. So I was like, okay, well, I have this ultrasound, but I don't believe it because you're not letting me talk to these doctors. She comes out public. Less than 24 hours later, I get a DM, and it's from an individual, and they said, you need to look into this court case. You are not the only one. I'm like, what? They said, she's done this before to multiple men. So I'm like, what is going on? So
is this like an anonymous DM or like you
it was from someone, I'm going to protect their identity, but they sent me.
But like it wasn't, but it seemed like it was from an actual person, I guess is my question.
Very credible.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. Credible person. So
it wasn't like on Salt Lake City, or some random DM account. Okay.
No, this individual knew of this individual. So
Okay.
I Google it. Sure enough, boom, active court case. I go to the court. I open up the court case. Boom, guy accused by the same individual back in 2021, accused of impregnating her with twins. I look at the evidence that's there in the court docs. There's an ultrasound image. The ultrasound image was reverse Google searched, and they found it through a reverse Google search that she had pulled it off of a site from years ago. It wasn't hers.
Is it the same image that we have here?
Different image.
Okay.
And basically, accused of impregnating with twins. And then the court case was still ongoing. It was still ongoing at that point, 2 years later. So I'm like reading the text messages that are in the court case, and it's like almost verbatim, eerily similar. I'm like, then I find another in that court doc. There's another man referenced. I go click on that, find his court case, and that one's not publicly accessible. But I Google the court case number. Boom, here he is, guy from 2018. And I'm like, what are the chances like that? This is two guys that have been accused, and now me. And so I'm like,
By
this
the
is
same woman.
yes. So I'm like, this is wild. So of course, at this time, everything's going out and everyone's saying this, he's a terrible, like Clayton's, of course, he treats women terribly, as we always saw online here when he was on reality television. Here he is again, treating someone terribly. Everyone's believing her, right? Because everyone's believing this individual, because why would they lie? So I come out with a story, and I said, there is apparently other individuals that have been accused of this as well. Because again, I'm like, this, I got to take
You shared
back.
that where?
I shared this on my Instagram story. Because I'm like, I got to take back the narrative. Like I don't believe this individual. And like this is getting out of hand. I'm losing brand deals at this point. I'm getting, they're sending me messages saying, hey, we can't move forward with you considering the allegations. I'm losing, speaking engagements. I'm just getting hit from all ends at this point. And I'm like, this is unfair. Like, why did you have to go public? You should have just done the paternity test. So she's like, he won't do it. Reddit's tearing me to shreds. And I'm like, you know what? I got to force her hand. So I come out and I say, hey, I just scheduled a prenatal paternity test with Ravgen. Now I'm waiting for her to schedule hers. And I take a screenshot of the payment. I take a screenshot of when I'm taking, or I say when I'm taking it. I said, so everyone just kind of stay tuned. And this is when we're doing it. So I force her hand. So naturally everyone's like, all right, she's got to now schedule hers. So she schedules it.
Did you put that out publicly that you scheduled?
I put that on my Instagram story as well.
Hey, all you singles out there. Have you checked out Hinge, the #1 app that is designed to get you off the app, not stay on it?
The app that's designed to be deleted.
That's right.
Iconic.
It's time to invest in your dating life if you haven't already. And Hinge is making it fun, too. It's time to mix it up. Maybe update those bios, update those prompts, start new and interesting conversations with delightful singles everywhere. Like the prompt saying, this year I really want to blank. What do you want to do? Start the conversation. Get them engaged in what you are trying to do.
Nick, if your prompt was this year I really want to blank, what would your answer be?
This year I want to be swept off my feet.
How cute!
Again, the best part about Hinge, it is designed to be deleted. Are you being intentional? Are you trying to actually connect with someone? With Hinge, they help you be intentional with your dating with their incredible prompts and the ability to keep updating your profile to match what you are looking for when it comes to your love life. So, manifest the dating experience you want this year. Download Hinge and find someone worth deleting the app for. Vessi, keep those feet comfortable and dry wherever you are with Vessi. Vessi is taking over the footwear game. If you haven't seen people wearing their stylish Vessi comfortable shoes, well,
Your eyes have been closed.
they've been truly closed. Whether you are a city warrior or braving the commuting streets by walking to wherever you need to go, or maybe you're a hiker, or maybe you're a traveler, you got to keep your feet comfortable and dry. It's all about your feet. If you're an active person, if your feet are damp, wet, or sore, you're just not going to be able to, accomplish whatever your big goals that you have. So help Vessi get you to where you want to go, both literally and figuratively, by taking care of your feet. They have wonderful selection of styles. It's really the classics, your white sneakers, and then some more fun designs as well. But the best part is they are not water resistant. No, they are 100% waterproof. And you never would imagine by looking at them. It's truly incredible, because usually you think you're going to have some big boot and some kind of, really stiff and something other than a really comfortable, flexible sneaker. And it's cute.
And it's cute.
It's cute. That's what's most important. It's cute, comfortable, and dry. So get your Vessi game on today. If you're ready to step in the new year with style and confidence, Vessi's got you covered. From chic city walks to adventurous treks, find the perfect pair for your lifestyle at Vessi.com/VIALL and get 15% off your first order. Again, that's Vessi.com, VESSI.com/VIALL for 15% off your first order.
So she then schedules her part and takes the test. At first, she doesn't show up, and she's like, "Oh, I was sick," and I'm like, and so I go back to my story. I'm like, "Hey, everyone, she didn't show up." She's like, "I'm sick," and so I was like, "She didn't show up." So then she's like, "I'm going to." So she shows up, and this time she submits it, and I get a call from the lab like she submitted it, and I was like, kind of taken back. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like if she's not actually pregnant, why would she submit it?" So now I'm a little like freaked out again. I'm like, "But I guess we'll find out." So I get the results back. I get a phone call, and the facility says, "Hey, can you have a moment?" And I said, "Yeah." They go, "Okay." So the results came back, and they show little to no fetal DNA. They said, "So basically, we need to retest, but right now we can't give you an answer. Whether it's inconclusive technically, but like we have to retest again."
Is this when you posted your kind of?
And I want to talk about this.
Maury Povich.
Yeah, I want to talk about this
Okay.
because I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt, but there's some people that spoke up that I thought was very unfair. But again, they didn't know the full story. But so yes, so it comes back little to no fetal DNA. At this point, I'm like, I know everything I need to know. She's lying. Why? Of course, it comes back little to no fetal DNA. We're on like week 9 or 10 right now. You cannot have little to no fetal DNA with twins. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm not letting this go any farther, because she's going to just say, "Well, I have to take another." And meanwhile, I get the phone call. I get an instant email from her. "Don't you dare go public with this. I have to retake the test. There was a sampling error or something. You better not say anything."
Wait, how far along?
This was like 9 or 10 weeks. Yeah.
When you finally got her to do
Yes.
the paternity test.
Mm-hmm.
And did you know at any point, were there 2 placentas? Like, were the twins identical or fraternal?
I can't remember what she said with that. No, I don't know if she said. I think that they were in one. I don't know. This is where, as a man, I don't know.
Just
They're identical.
look at how different. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, where is her uterus? Like, that is my uterus, the black, and then that is the baby.
Yeah.
So were you ever able to reverse Google image the ultrasound?
I tried, couldn't find it.
So
I think,
for all you know, this is an ultrasound she sent you.
yeah,
You just don't know.
yeah.
Okay.
My reverse Google image, couldn't find it. I think she took an image and then doctored over it. That's why I don't think it looks like a normal ultrasound, but
It does look kind of funky.
it looks very altered in my opinion. So, so at this point, I was like, I have to report this, because again, my reputation is still getting hammered online every single day. So I was like, I have to come out and state the results. because she's just going to take another test and the same results are going to come back. Like I already know what the answer is going to be.
And did you ask the clinic like why it came back as like little to no DNA?
Yes, I did
Like,
ask them, and he said, well, you know, sometimes it could be because you're testing too early along, you know, it's too early in, but like at this point, you know, that we wouldn't think that. Maybe the sampling could have gotten compromised when it was in transit. You know, that's, I suppose they said, but you know, it's normally very accurate, but we'll have to do another retest. And I said, well, what happens if like this individual's not pregnant? They said, well, that's the result you'll get. I said, okay, so
if it's not, yeah, that's a great question. If she was not pregnant, it will always come back as little to no.
So I said, okay. I said, so if it comes back as little to no fetal DNA, I go, can you guys just give me that answer or in writing? They go, no, we can't. I said, what? And they go, no, we can only give you it. It's a part of our policy. We can only give you it back in writing if it's yes or no. And that's when it hit me. I was like, that's probably why she took the test, because she sent in an email like a week or two prior. She like when we were talking to the,
but
like,
there's like no then right?
Yeah.
You're saying, so if I'm understanding you correctly,
correct.
If she is not pregnant, it will always come back as little to no fetal DNA.
Yes. Because all they test for, they go, we created this test not for someone that's gaming the system. We created this test for someone that's actually pregnant.
Yeah, this isn't meant to prove someone's lying about being pregnant.
Yeah. And so she said in an email where she copied me on it with the guy, like when we were scheduling it, she said, hey, you know, you and I talked about this guy. She goes, hey, you and I talked about what would happen if the test comes back as inconclusive. So I was like, she already knew what would happen if it came back inconclusive. I was not going to be able to get anything in writing. So she would just keep retesting. So I was like, she's going to keep retesting. And then I asked him, I go, so what happens if she tests again a second time? They go, we'll probably ask for a third sample. I said, when do you ask for like a doctor's note or something? He goes, probably around like the third or fourth time. And then we'll ask for a doctor to basically like submit those medical records or like stand behind it. I said, well, she won't even give me those. And he's like, yeah, you know, we'll just have to have a retest. Well, at that point I was like, I'm not waiting. Cause like every 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, like my reputation is gonna get further tarnished. And at that point with all the evidence I had, I was like, I'm putting all my chips on black. I'm coming out with it. I'm stating it and I'll stand behind it. And I'm gonna put this video out and be as confident as possible, because I want this to be done right now. And if I'm wrong, if she's somehow pregnant, then bye-bye reputation. I'm done. My social media, all of that influencing gone out the window. I'm willing to risk it because I am not willing to let this go another second, because I know in my heart she's not pregnant. So why did I put out the video the way that I did? And people didn't like it. And there was people that had opinions about it and thought that I came out and the way that I did it was all boisterous and I should have not had come out in that manner. And that's fine if you felt that way. The reason why I did that was because I knew if I came out and said, well, the test just came back as little to no fetal DNA. So I guess there's still a chance that she could be pregnant. We'll have to wait for another 2 to 3 weeks and we'll go from there, guys. Then everyone's going to keep the door open and be like, she's pregnant. She could still be pregnant. I made an executive decision at that point after talking with my family, friends. I was like, I need to come out as confident as ever. It needs to be so blatantly obvious that I know in my heart that like, this is not true. She is not pregnant. So I came out with energy. And was I proud of it? No. I was embarrassed. Honestly, I was like,
I think that's where you got the criticism, is that I get where you're coming from and I understand your logic. I just maybe like the delivery or the execution of your plan maybe didn't land the way you hoped.
Because it's like everyone who's not you is thinking, well, there's a possibility that if there is this child is born, this child grows up, and then this child can see that this man was so happy to like not be their father.
Yeah. So yes, the problem with this was, and again, meanwhile, while this is happening, she's posting to Reddit. She's dropping a Dropbox that's like of all this evidence of like her pregnant stomach, and she releases the.
Wait, she was posting photos of her stomach?
Yeah.
Did it look like she was
could
pregnant?
have, but then people were saying, well, it also could have like been bloating. But yeah, I mean, she was posting stuff to Reddit.
I mean, before Natalie got pregnant, she was able to every once in a while
poke it out.
Yeah, and I was Googling, because I'm like Googling like bloating, And I'm like looking at photos of women bloated, and I'm like, oh, it could. And so, but she's posting this to Reddit meanwhile. Well, then she posts a video ultrasound. So video ultrasound, which she sent to me as well. And I have that here if you guys want to play it. Okay, so before you press play, it's just so you have a background on this. You're going to see 2 videos. The first video.
Clayton, here is my 1,000,000% real ultrasound video. There was an issue with the sample, as blank said. All the best.
Yeah. So and sample, yeah, and that guy, that's the sample with so right around the time of the first round of the prenatal paternity test results coming back. So what you're seeing here is you're going to see this was sent. It's a screen recording, so you know this is sent from her email. And you're going to see an ultrasound video, and then after that ultrasound video, you'll see another ultrasound video that is a YouTube video that when she posted this on her Dropbox saying this was her ultrasound video, Reddit, you know, they do some good stuff every so often, found it within 24 hours and sent this to me and was like, this video she sent you is from this YouTube video from 6 years ago. So that's the background on all this, and you'll see screen recordings of both. And then I'll call out the
Reddit has proved this video we're about to watch is some old video
Correct.
off of YouTube.
Yes, and I also reached out to the individual that posted the video, and was like, I want to clear this up that this individual's name is not this blank. That this video that you did, and it's from 6 years ago. And she thought it was crazy. She's like, can you not see it's on YouTube from 6 years ago? I said, can you just say that to me in writing? And she said, yes. And so she did. So she cleared it. So this video is 1,000% not her video.
1,000,000%.
1,000,000%, 1,000,000%.
Looks like a
It is
trillion,
a
actually.
real ultrasound video. It is just not her real ultrasound video.
Correct. So I want you guys to pay attention to, we can probably just run it all the way through while we're talking, but I want you to pay attention to the markers in the video. You'll see like kid A, or child A, child B, placenta. So pay attention to that. And then also pay attention to the clock up top. So when you do ultrasounds, there's a running time. So you'll see this is the video. And then up top in the right, first off, this is what tipped me off when she sent it to me, that the time's not moving. So she put her name up there. I blocked it out. So baby B, placenta, baby A. Again, just pay attention to like how it's moving. But the markers are obviously, of course, B. Then here comes A. Bottom, boom. Okay. And now this is from the YouTube video. It's still up right now.
What we just watched wasn't from the
No.
YouTube video?
That was,
her.
but that was her that she sent to me. Now this is from the YouTube video that's up that I took a screen recording of. Same video.
Oh, I see.
So here's baby B, and then placenta, and here comes baby A. She did clip this at one point, so baby A will pop up here. There goes baby A. So she clipped the video a little bit so that it wasn't like all the way through the same, but here's B, and then we know A pops up again right here. A, same exact video.
Looks
Those are the
pretty
two
similar
different-
to me, yeah.
Oh, wow.
They're the exact same video. So that's what Reddit found. My little Reddit army. I'll shout them out. They also tore me to shreds to begin with, but now they're mostly on my side. So I'll give them credit where credit's due.
Well, they might not be next week. You never know with
Yeah.
Reddit.
Well,
They hate you
no.
one
For
day, they
now-
love you the next.
For right now, I like Reddit. So thank you, Reddit. So
You
that's
realize it's not like a group of 6 people, you know?
you think it's the same, like 6 people just posting all the time?
No, I mean it's just a collection of.
Anyways,
Well, they're digging, and so they've dug, and so yeah, so they come out with this, so when I came out with my video, I assumed a lot of my audience had seen these videos because it was all over Reddit, but Reddit's just a microcosm. So yes, I agree with you that whenever I post that video, a lot of people were like, in the comments, they said, but they're like, this is gonna be so sad for the kids that see, you know, this video one day, and I'm like, there are no kids. She's not pregnant.
Back to you posting your Maury Povich video.
Yeah.
You posted because there's no kids.
No
in
kids.
your mindset, this is all made up.
And I was not proud of that video. I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't have my Maury moment. Like I hold myself to a high standard. Like I was trying to release as little as possible, but also like clear it up.
Yeah.
So I was embarrassed by the video. I was not proud of it, but I'm like, I got to get it out there. I got to get the narrative out there, the truth, because like I'm losing this fight right now by this individual that's just not giving any evidence, but people are believing her like with no evidence. And so I just was like, you got to come out with the video. I had no choice in my eyes. So I came out with it, and that was that. And, you know, people like, I was like, the only power I have to regain control of this narrative is my platform. So I released it the way that I did. I came out with the confidence that I did. I was a calculated decision, just to be like, so people again, I was like, the more confidence I have, the more likely they'll be like, well, clearly it's not true. I didn't want people to be like, well, we'll wait for another 2 or 3 weeks. But in the meantime, so we the second test, I'm like, take another test. Second test she takes, gets lost in transit somehow. And then we takes a third test. Third test comes back little to no fetal DNA again. At that point.
So at this point, you've taken 3 tests.
3.
The first one, little to no.
Yeah.
Second test, lost in transit.
Yeah.
Third test, little to no DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. So then,
Tied with 2 other men experiencing the exact same situation with the same woman.
I want to be very careful here and say not exact same.
But it was similar.
Very
It was similar.
Similar
Yes.
situations.
Similar situations.
Okay.
Now at this point, I'm, as this is all out, I'm now talking to the last guy. Him and I are buddies now. He's a great guy.
Oh.
We're friends.
Okay, well, you found a buddy.
So yeah, so then the third test comes back, but at this point, I was brought into court, and so I had to kind of keep mum because she filed for a parenting plan. So she then serves it to me. First off, I go to Miami. She tries to serve it to one girl that and I'm backtracking a bit again. Like this happened all before that. Like she served this when it still hadn't went public. She tries to serve it to me. I go to Miami to see my cousin and to hang out with Jesse Palmer. And so I like go down there to hang out. She then like sends me an email like you're trying to escape and I don't know when you're going to come back to Arizona, so I'm going to serve you these papers. It's a parenting plan.
Wait, you're at Jesse Palmer's house?
No. I was with my cousin,
Okay.
but I met up with Jesse.
Wild.
So she then I get an email from a process server. We're trying to serve to this address. Well, it was the address of a girl that lived in Miami that I had talked to like 3 months prior. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's literally trying to stop me from like talking to any women. Now she's trying to serve to that address. Doesn't get delivered to that address. This process server then says, I'm going to send to the second address. And it was Jessica Girard. I was like, who's that? And I'm like, I didn't know who that name was. And so I tell my parents and they go, that girl's on Paradise right now. Or she's going on Paradise or she was on Zach's season. So
Baby Jess?
apparently.
Like Glitter Jess?
Yeah. And
They
her and
tried to deliver.
her and I have never had a conversation. They tried to deliver to her because she lives in Miami. And so this individual decided to try to serve the people that she thought I was like in Miami trying to see these girls just to like have paternity papers show up to their doorstep.
Did Jess get served these papers?
I don't think she got served either.
Did you ever talk to Jess about
No,
this?
I've never talked to her. So so everyone's like, well, why would she try to serve to her? I went on a podcast with like Joe, Grocery Store Joe, and they said like, who would you find interest in if you were to go down to Paradise? And I said her. So this individual Googled who I was interested in or I like
and
dated
found
in the
her
past
address.
and found her. I didn't even know at the time. I was like, who's this person? And then I was like, oh my parents told me. And I'm like, my mom loves the show. She's like, that's the girl that was on Zach's
Your mom
season.
still loves the show?
She still does. Yeah.
Wow.
She's a loyal fan. So
I guess so.
yeah.
Damn.
A truly loyal fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. When everything was going down on the show, it was funny because I'm back, like when I was on the show before it aired, everything hit the fan at that point, like right around Fantasy Suites. And then like when it was Meet the Family and I tell my family everything and they're so upset. My mom's distraught. She's thinking like, oh my gosh, my son's I'm coming down. I'm going to Iceland. My son's about to, be engaged. And then I tell them everything. And of course we're all distraught. I'm crying. Like she's like, I can't believe this wasn't what I hoped. So we're all sad. All of a sudden Jessie walks in for the first time and she's like, Jessie, oh my gosh. And she gets up and like hugs him. And I'm like, Mom, read the room. What do you? So my mom's a super fan. Yeah. So anyway,
God bless her.
Yeah. God
So
bless her.
she
I love her to
knew
death.
Baby Jess.
Yeah.
So she tries to get, her served. And I'm like, gosh, like what is, and so she finally serves the papers to me. Like, I'm like, I tell the process server, I'm like, I'm back in Arizona. Come, serve them to me. Because they tried to serve them at my work. She tried to serve them at my dance studio. She's just trying to embarrass me and send them to everybody that I knew. And so, I was like, I was like, I'm at my house, just show up. So they serve them to me. I have to then file a response. I go to court and I stand in front of the judge and I file out the response and I'm like, I didn't know how to fill it out. And I said, Your Honor, I don't know how, there's no kids. What are you talking about? You have a parenting plan. I said, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. There's no kids. I don't know how to. I can't tell you what days I should take these kids for, what holidays and which ones she should have, and who's how much percent of the time she has them and I have. There's no kids, and they're like, oh well, just I guess just file and say that that you dispute all this. So I did file that. And I'm like, I gotta stop this. I'm tired of this individual messaging me. So I was like, I gotta get an injunction against harassment. So I go to file an injunction against harassment. So injunction against harassment is similar to an order of protection. The difference is an injunction is when you file it against someone that you don't have a relationship with. So like a stranger, if someone was like harassing you online, or you just have very limited interaction with that individual, you file an injunction. You file an order of protection against an individual that you have a relationship with, like romantic, or you just someone that or that you work with, that someone that you have a standing relationship with. I file the injunction because I'm like, I don't even know this individual. I've had like very limited interaction. So I filed the injunction. I get a hearing. I go to the hearing. The judge goes, you have an active parenting plan open. I said, yeah. He goes, I can't rule on this because you have an open plan. I have to kick this forward to another superior court.
How far in are we now?
Now we're back to right when everything went public. So I'm like, wow, this is all going public. I'm in court. So I'm like doing the court thing. And so he's like, I got to push this forward 2 weeks. You're going to go to Phoenix and you're going to like sit in front of a judge, and they'll hear if you get, they'll hear you and see if you can get an injunction then. Well, in retaliation, she obviously knows I tried to file the injunction. So what does she do? She files for an order of protection. She gets it granted instantly. So
what's an order of protection?
A protection order or restraining order.
Against you?
Yes.
She filed a restraining order against you?
Yes. With what I would say, no evidence. I never threatened her, but boom, they instantly grant it. And it's not actually that hard to get orders of protection. So just for people to understand, it's actually really not that hard. As I found out, I was shocked. I'm like, wait, what? How do I have an order of protection against me? So I go to dispute it. And then obviously we have a court hearing for me to get mine. I'll just say this. I don't want to speak.
Wait, you filed one against her?
Yes.
Well, and that got pushed.
That got pushed, but then hers got granted right away.
How?
If I had to speculate, it was because the difference, this is me speculating. So again, in my opinion, she is a quote unquote pregnant woman, fearful for her life. I'm the man. They need to grant this instantly, because if they wait a week, I might abuse her by that point. So they need to grant this instantaneously, whereas she's not a threat to me. That's my thought behind it, because it didn't make any sense why they granted hers right away and mine, they pushed forward 2 weeks. So I don't know. I really don't know, but that was my thought. They're like, we're going to.
Was yours ever granted?
Mine was granted. So I won mine. And then I don't want to speak on the case itself. I self-represented when I tried to fight mine, and I lost. That's all I'll say about it. I don't agree with the ruling, but the court made their hearing. It didn't really matter at the end of the day, because I was just like, I don't want to talk to you anyways. So fine, you can have one against me. I'll have one against you.
Is that still
active?
Still active.
Yeah. Which I will hopefully get removed once this all comes out that it's fake. Because that pops up, and I got to explain the whole story to them. And
do you have are you being represented right now?
Now I'm being represented.
Okay.
Yeah. So after I kind of got,
why did you decide to represent yourself for that?
Because I felt that, well, one, this is a good question. I just bought a house, so I'm cash poor right now. But I bought a house. I sunk all my money into it. And I don't got much left in the tank right now from a cash standpoint. So when she starts bringing all these things in the court, I'm like, lawyers are expensive, $650 an hour for a lawyer. And so I'm like, I'll be burnt out of money in a few months. Like if I can't do this. So I'm like, so also though, I'm not guilty. So in my head again, and I'm stubborn, I'm the first to admit that, I was like, I'm just going to self-represent because it's not true. And at the end of the day, I'm the innocent one, and I'm the one telling the truth. So she's going to get caught in her lies. So I thought, how hard is it to go to court and be like, prove that I harassed you? You don't have any harassing messages. And I just thought, I have a ton of harassing messages, so I'll win my case. And, and I did, but so I kind of just thought I could go do it myself. And I was like, I can't afford a lawyer. So I self-represented, and in my case, they were back-to-back cases. In my case, it got pushed for a week later. We ran out of time. I get out of my case and I get a text from a podcaster, and he said, "Hey, you did a good job today. And you represented yourself well." And I said, "What?" I go, "How do you know?" He goes, "I watched it. You did really well." I said, "What do you mean you watched it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? How'd you watch it?" He goes, "Oh, you don't know?" He goes, "It was live streamed online." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, man, you should have probably had a lawyer, but you did pretty well." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, it was all over Reddit. You should go look." I go look, boom, live streamed. They live streamed my injunction.
Who live streamed it?
The court. They just put it up on. I didn't know it was going to be live streamed. She didn't know it was going to be live streamed. But basically the judge is like, we still have to get through half of the court case, so we'll come back in a week. Well, in the interim, at that point, everyone on Reddit's like, Clayton, get a freaking lawyer. What are you doing? Then I talked to this podcast and I was like, I don't have the money. Truthfully, like I'm cash poor. Like I'm cash poor right now. So they raised a GoFundMe and it got me enough money. And so then I hired representation. They came back the next week. We won the case. I got my injunction. Boom, shuts her off. She can't come after me. Meanwhile, this podcast is pushing all this stuff out. She's going after him. And, I'm like, I'm just going to lay low and hopefully like the court will do its, job and justice will be served.
She went after him?
Went after him for pushing out that when the test results came back for a third time and there was a little to no field DNA, he came out with it. So now he's pushing out and I'm staying quiet because, my lawyers are saying, hey, just stay out of the line of fire, and it's still getting out there. Someone else is pushing it. So just step back. And I was like, all right. So I just stepped back. And so they, then all of a sudden now we are here at present day. And in the last few days, she comes out with a article and she's claiming she's the victim of cyberbullying. And she's like, as you all know, I became pregnant with the Bachelor's twins. And she writes this whole thing about how I've been cyberbullied and she's playing the victim. And it infuriated me because the case, I thought that by now the case would have, the court would have prosecuted her. I just thought that they would have went after her and said, well, they subpoenaed her for medical records. I thought after I explained myself in court for when I got my injunction, I tried to push in as much as I can about I haven't seen an ultrasound. I haven't seen, or not one that's her. I have a fake ultrasound that she sent me. It was from a YouTube video, but the court is very procedure based. They're not about right or wrong. They're about, you came here for an injunction against harassment. Therefore, we are here to rule on whether or not she harassed you, not whether or not she's pregnant. So
makes sense.
They're very procedure based. So I thought, well, once this all gets out, people the court will eventually see that, this will get out to the public and then the DA will pick it up and then they'll basically go after her. No, it didn't happen. I reach out to the police. I filed, I'm like, hey, can you guys go after her and criminally prosecute her? I have proof of perjury and medical fraud. And they're like, we can't really do anything about it. You need to take it to the court. So I sent a message or a letter to the DA. They sent me a letter back. File with the police. I'm like, well, the police said not to file with you guys. So that just goes dead in the water. I'm like, okay, so no one's doing anything on these two fronts. And so then I'm calling around people that are in the court system. And they're basically you have to press charges against her and take her for defamation. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go through a whole defamation. It's going to get dragged out for 3 years because things just get dragged for 2-3 years. And so I'm like, I don't know if I want to go do this. But then she comes out with this article and I'm like, I got to speak up. Because she claims she was the victim and then she said in the Medium article, moving forward, I would ask that you all give me privacy and I will not be providing any further updates on my pregnancy. And I said, there it is right there. That's what she's going to do. She's going to fall off the map and hope that come time for her, by the time that she's due, everyone will forget about it, which, you can show a couple, two more of these ones I have. She was threatening at one point to go public with these. So you can click on this. So this first one, she said, hey, this is again, I jumped out of order, but she's like, I'm going to go public and I'm going to go public with this. And she said, basically, surprise, I can't wait for the arrival of these two next Valentine's Day. Yes, she chose her due date is February 14th. And then she said, on a more serious note, the father, Clayton Echard, has said he wants nothing to do with the process. He has blocked me from messaging him, refuses to see me and his growing babies, and says he will continue to ignore me. He doesn't want to have anything to do with them when they're born and thinks they'll negatively impact his dating life. Tag him and let him know what you think.
Wait, what? I'm confused. What is going on here?
That is her caption.
That was what she was going to caption. And she was going
How do you know that? Wait,
That's what she says.
She sent this to me in an email.
she sent, okay. She
She
emailed
says,
you this.
Yes.
If you want option A, I will not post this. I'm just looking for support during this incredibly overwhelming time. Final email regarding this, but I wanted to give you the courtesy of showing you the post. I'm attaching the photo I'm going to use. I'm over being treated like shit, and at least if this is public, you'll have to give a statement to the media. Not sure when I will put it up. The caption is, surprise, I can't wait for the arrival of these two next Valentine's Day. On a more serious note, their father, at Clayton Echard, has said he wants nothing to do with this process, in quotes. He has blocked me from messaging him, refuses to see me and his growing babies, and says he will continue to ignore me. He doesn't want to have anything to do with them when they are born and thinks they will negatively impact his life. Tag him and let him know what you think. Please note the following legal waiver. If after proof of opening is obtained, I chose not to respond to this email, I'm confirming that this content is true. This includes my acknowledgement of paternity. In addition, by not responding, I'm giving my approval to this individual to post above content on social media. Clayton, this is a situation you can't run and hide from. You will need to take accountability for your actions, which created twins. If I can't get you to do it, then maybe the public can convince you to. All the best.
And then you can show the other picture.
This is so much information.
She attached this picture with it. So this was going to be the picture that she's going to post alongside it.
Oh, it's made on Canva.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Echard twins coming February 2024.
Yeah, so she never posted that, but that was again just another one of the threats, and then getting people to try to, again, she just wanted to try to basically put my back against the wall. She's like, I'm going to ruin your reputation. Well, she comes out with the article and then she says, give me my privacy. I'm not going to, talk about this further. I should also mention that after I won my injunction, she filed for a name change the next day. So she's trying to dodge all responsibility, and then
a name change for
she's trying to change
for
her
herself.
name.
Yeah, but she tried to file a name.
Yeah,
So she's trying to avoid taking accountability. And then this last, article from last week, basically her saying, I'm not going to provide updates moving forward. So I then decided, no, like she's going to try to fall off the grid, and like people are just going to attention spans. They're going to move on. February 14th is going to roll around. No news. March is going to roll around. Everyone's going to be like, maybe a few people are like, hey, what happened? No answer. And then she's going to fall off the map. I was like, no, we can't do this. Like, she's going to get away with this. And like, she's not getting criminally prosecuted. No one's going after her. Like, I have to do something to hold her accountable, because if I don't, she'll do it to someone else. There'll be a fourth victim. And so I was like, I cannot allow this. So I decided to file a response in the family court case that she originally opened up. And mind you, she claims that anything that I say is defaming her, but she's the one that defamed herself, because she's the one that opened this family court case, this original one that's still open. She opened it, then released it anonymously, the story, and then said, like, I have an active court case with Clayton. Then people found it. So they found it and saw that her name, because she basically self-incriminated herself. And she also, like, in her Dropbox, she released all of my cell phone number, my email, like she doxed me. But she, in all of it, like she basically defamed herself and put her name out there. I have not once said her name. You will not ever find in any article, any, video, I've never said her name. So, she defamed herself and everyone found it when she came out with these articles. Well, then she tried to file for the name change. Everyone found that right away. And then so she comes out with this and she's like, I'm just going to basically fall off the grid. Well, I'm like, no. So then in the meantime, the family court case was just sitting there. And I just left it open because I really thought, like, I'm going to leave it open because it doesn't hurt me to have open and maybe I could still utilize it. Well, guess what? It worked out well, because I was like, I have a court case. And then basically they responded and said, hey, listen, like, if you guys aren't going to file anything else, if we're not going to get the paternity results because you guys haven't submitted them, then like, we're going to close this. So I contact the court. I'm like, I can't give you guys the results because they won't give them to me, because it has to be yes or no. And it keeps coming back as little to no fetal DNA. So they can't put it in writing. And so they're like, I said, but I want to file something. I don't want this individual to just like this to close and then to just move on without any accountability. So at this point, I'm like, I got to talk to the lawyer. I got to file something. So I go back to my lawyers and I'm like, guys, I need your help. Like, we got to file something that is going to hold her accountable, because I'm afraid she's going to just fall off the grid. And she's either going to have a miscarriage, but then as we're talking, they go, well, she can't do a miscarriage at this point because she's too far along. So the last time that she went to court, she was too far along in the state of Arizona, where at this point, if she claims miscarriage,
What do you mean too far along?
She's too far along in her pregnancy, quote unquote, that if she were to have a miscarriage at this point, she has to provide death certificates. So that's out. She can't say she had a miscarriage.
What is that?
It would have to be like a stillbirth.
Yes.
Gotcha. And what is that timeline? Like, how many weeks along does he have to be?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's like something like maybe 5 months, but
Allie's
don't quote me on that. But there's a timeline for that.
But you're saying, to be clear, she is still claiming to be pregnant, so that if she were to now claim miscarriage,
she's very choosy with her, very particular with her words. She's saying, I became pregnant. So now she's not saying she still is. She's saying I became pregnant. Again, I think she's trying to potentially leave that door open to say so that she can. But she already was in court stating she was still pregnant.
as of when?
As of that was like, I guess 2 months ago. So that was at like 6 or 7 months. So she was past the point.
So stillbirth is like, there's different classifications. So an early stillbirth is a fetal death occurring between 20 and 27 completed weeks. A late stillbirth occurs between 28 and 36 weeks. And the term stillbirth occurs between 37 and more completed weeks of pregnancy.
And how many weeks do you have to provide a death certificate?
A death certificate? I also Googled that, but I just got a link of how to file for a death certificate, which I don't need to do at this current time.
Not yet.
Yeah, I was told that she's past it, whatever the point is.
By who?
By lawyers and by people online that are following the case. So she's past that point. So that's not an option, apparently. It's a matter of, well, we need to make sure that she can't have any way out other than giving the truth. It's like, if for whatever reason you've decided not to give me any proof this entire time, just come out with it and show us, have a doctor come out and say, here you go. Like, here's the ultrasound that we did. Like, I stand by it. Like, she is pregnant. Like, that's what we need. Proof other than an HCG test. That's the only proof that's been given. So this whole time, I'm like, if you decided that you didn't want to give it this entire time, which would be crazy, why would you not have? But if you decided not to, just come out. But that's the thing. She's not, because again, she's not. I believe everything that she is not pregnant at all. I'll say this to be very specific. She is absolutely not pregnant with my twins. She's not 8 months pregnant with my twins. So again, but if she wants to prove me wrong, then come out and show the ultrasound and show that all your medical records are enough to prove that you actually are pregnant. But we were like, okay, what else could she possibly try to do to get out of this? Well, somebody online was like, well, maybe she might try to basically give the children up in a private adoption. So what my lawyers came up with, which is incredible, this is why lawyers can be very helpful, why you shouldn't self-represent yourself, is they decided to come up with filing a punitive father registry. Now, what a punitive father registry is it's when a individual would file for this if they thought there was a chance that they might have gotten somebody pregnant. And if they did, then whenever the children are delivered, the father has a say in what happens to the children. So we filed it. In the document, we clearly said, I do not believe I'm the father, but in the event that I may be, I would like to have a decision making over what happens to these children. So now she cannot claim that she gave them up privately for an adoption. She has to come to me. She actually has to notify my lawyers. So that's out. She can't give them up. So she can't have a miscarriage. She can't give them up. So
and to be clear, your intent of filing this is to basically cover your ass. You and your team are trying to get ahead of any possible claims she might make, you're in terms of like how she plans on moving forward, and getting out of this,
Yes.
Like whether it's miscarriage, private adoption,
Yes.
You're trying to get ahead of all these possible claims that she could make.
We're trying. Yes, I am trying to make it where it comes down to two things. You come out, you say you lied, which would be the best course of action for her at this point. She could come out and say she lied about the whole thing and that she's in a dark place and she needs to go seek help, and then she goes and gets help. And you know what? I won't sue her. I'll tell her. Like, I know she's going to listen to this. So like, you do that, I will move on and forgive you, and that's it. Like,
I think it's just really hard, like from a woman's perspective. Like, obviously, we always want to believe women, right? Like when they come out and they say something, I think it's really hard for us to be like, well, they're lying, because we've been conditioned, I feel like, that way. And so it's really hard to think that someone would do this, because it feels like it sets women back so far in the progress we've made. So it's really hard for me to believe that this woman could go this far and do this. And there are so many women who can't have children and who do struggle with all of these things, that it's like, it's really disgusting if she is lying. This is like, it's really hard from a woman to sit back and like watch someone do this.
Yeah, you make a really great point. And I had that discussion with somebody that was state representative. I asked him, I said, is it possible to get the courts to go after her? I said, why? I don't want to have to be like, I don't want to get invested in another court case. Like, why would they not go after them? And they basically said what you just said. We don't want to discourage people that are actual victims from possibly having the fear of what happens if I come to the court system and they don't believe me and they turn around and prosecute me.
Mm-hmm.
She said, so that they're probably not going to go after her for that reason alone. That's just the way it is. And it's tough, but I get that, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're dealing with an individual that is a rarity. But this actually happens more than what I've realized. I've actually had a lot of men come out. I mean, 5 or 6 men that have come out and told me of a similar story that happened to them. It does happen. But again, the vast majority of women are not doing this and don't display this behavior. And it sounds so crazy that like nobody believes you believe me for a while because they're like, there's no way. Because why would someone go to this length? They can't believe that someone would go to this extreme of a length. And I couldn't believe it until I realized like, well, I'm dealing with an individual of this caliber. So that's where we're at today. I just was notified by my lawyers that she picked up representation to respond to the documents we filed. We asked to subpoena her medical records. That's also what we did. We also filed for order of non-paternity. I might be saying that incorrectly. My lawyer is going to beat me up for this because we talked about this yesterday. But basically, we want definitive proof for the court to rule that I am absolutely not the father. Because what we first tried to file for was order of proof of paternity. We tried to take a paternity test, which just keeps coming back as inconclusive, and it will forever come back as inconclusive. So at this rate, that's not good enough. It just leaves it up in the air. Everyone's like, well, so is he or is he not? Maybe it's a sampling error, which it's not. But she can just keep pushing that along. So that narrative. So now we filed for a proof of non-paternity. So now the court will be able to have a finding that I am absolutely not the father. The reason we do that is to protect me so that there is a legitimate court finding so that I can hold on to that for the rest of my life. So she can't come out in the future and say, yeah, I was impregnated by the bachelor Clayton Echard. It's like, no, you weren't. There's a finding right here that proves I have a document. I am not the father. Never was the father. So that was the other thing that we filed. So really smart on the lawyers. Shout them out. They got some of the best in the game, thankfully. But that's where we're at. So February 14th, Valentine's Day, where everyone's with their loved ones. We can all also just know that we'll all be on the edge of our seats waiting on.
We'll have you in our thoughts.
And also apparently twins come sooner than 9 months. So it wouldn't even be February 14th. It would be maybe in the next 2 weeks.
Obviously, emotionally, this has costed you a lot. Have you been able to quantify the monetary value this has costed you up to this point?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I'm guessing we're probably pushing up into, I say conservatively $60,000-$70,000, probably in 6 figures at this point. Because
and is that counting direct cost or just opportunities lost as well?
Opportunities. So yeah, and some even existing, I almost lost brand. This could have gotten pushed up into well beyond, a couple 100,000. I don't have I don't have a finite number as far as but again, this is the tough part is when I had a lot of people that I speak on mental health. And so I go around the country. I had a lot of people that just responded back and said, in light of the allegations, we just, even if it's not true, we'd have to explain to the parents. Cause I speak to middle school to high school age kids. We'd have to explain to the parents as they Google him. Cause when you Google me, it's all up there on the front page, it's a guilty till proven innocent mindset. And also it's, how many people are going to dive deep and really dive into the weeds? That's why I want to do this podcast. I'm like, I want to give all of the details because a lot of people just read the headlines. I even had my good friends a few months ago that were like, I told them like what was going on. They go, wait, I thought that was over. I'm like, most people aren't sitting here invested in this. They're just going to read the headlines and they move on. And then now they think I'm the guy that I still get people that go, didn't you get some girl pregnant? I'm like, no. But also there's going to be people that are going to read, whenever I was reaching out and I had people reach out on my behalf to speak at these schools and such that are just going to read that, Google it, see my name and go, no, and hit the trash on it. So, it's damaged. It's hurt me financially. But emotionally, it was tough. And this is the biggest thing is I'm very grateful for, honestly, like, I went through it with the show where I didn't face any false accusations with the show, but the show, I had a tough time with the public and the response post show. And then I got hit with an accusation last year, cheating scandal. But those two things kind of geared me up for this one. And so I kept kind of, in a way, the last false accusation, kind of like I kept going back to it, and I knew the timeline of a false accusation. I was like, well, I went through it once, so I already know like kind of how this is going to go. I'm going to get the initial wave of people telling me how terrible I am, and then like the truth will come out and it'll eventually like die down. But it was tough. I mean, I won't say I went as far as like I'm a lot more resilient than I used to be, but I had dark thoughts, and I talked to the other individuals that she's done this to, and they had really dark and destructive thoughts. And I'm afraid that I'm like, if this keeps going, some man is going to they might take their life. I mean, it's a scary thing when you like when you're in this situation dealing with an individual of this caliber that's just suffocating you, that's sending these messages to your friends, your family, your work, and you're losing opportunities. I mean, I watched my income from month to month just nosedive. I haven't hardly made any money the last 2 months, and I'm doing okay. I'm recovering. I'm like, I'll push through. I'll pivot. I'm getting into solar sales. I'm like, I'll make it work. But like all my opportunities dying off, and then people questioning, being cautious. Like I had people that had to step away from me because like, what if it is true? So like I wasn't, like there were some people that are just staying away from me, and I'm like, this sucks because my reputation's in the gutter. And then also if it was at the very beginning, it's like you're thinking your life is going to change forever. But again, I was totally at the very beginning, I was like, hey, let's do an ultrasound, let's do a paternity test, and if it comes back, I will be there. I'll support you through this. I'm not going to date you. We're not going to get married or any of that, but like I will support you. We'll make this work. But when she showed me that she was not mentally sane, I was like, this individual, I cannot do joint custody, which again, she said to me, she goes, we will do joint custody. I will fight for joint. You will not, we're not going to do split. You're not going to do 100% or me 100%. It's going to be joint or nothing. And I was like, why? I don't want to be with you. Like it was always her trying to be with me. And I just told my parents, I was like, I will not be able to, like, she will destroy my mental health. Like I can't raise children with her. Like, again, early on when I thought this might be a possibility, I mean, she just suffocated me, just 5 emails a day, blasting it to everybody, and you just feel overwhelmed. And then when the threat to go public, you're like, I can't breathe. And when I went on the reality, the local pickleball show, she launched that day on purpose because she knew I was filming for 7 days, and she wanted me to basically not be able to do my job, and I could compartmentalize. So I would do my little 3 minutes talking to the cameras, and I go back into the locker room, and I sat there with my head down, and I just sat there in silence, and I was just trying to like slowly breathe. I was like, Clayton, like, you just have to get through this week. Like it's going to calm down once the truth comes out. But I was a mess. I mean, and I tried to paint myself as this strong, courageous person online. And everyone was like, we didn't know he was dancing and all that. Cause I was trying to continue to live my life and just not let this person affect me. Early on, my dad gave me really great advice. And, cause I told them one day, they called me and I said, it was early in, and I said, I can't do anything. I can't get up and work. I'm doing the bare minimum. Like I'm just staring at the ceiling for 5 hours a day. Like I feel paralyzed. And my dad, he gave me really good advice. He said, Clayton, he said, if you are the father, then you will have to deal with that 9 months from now. For right now, you just got to live your life, and you got to you just got to basically go day to day and just be you. And then if you are the father, then like you'll have to step up to the plate 9 months from now. But you can't sit here in your room and just be crippled for the next 9 months. That's what she wants. And again, we don't believe it. You don't believe it. But like, if you are somehow the father, like you can't do anything about it right now. You have to be present. You can't think about the future and let it cripple you. Just be present in this moment. And it was really, really great advice, because what this taught me was to be more present than ever. I'm like, I cannot think about the future. I just have to live moment to moment and be the best version of myself. And then I will deal with things as they come. But that was great advice from my dad, because that's what this taught me. It also showed me all of the people in my corner, all the great support that I have, the people that just trust me and believe me, and who are willing to stand by my side. And so there's been a lot of good that's come from this, and it's really taught me to be more resilient. And so I'm actually really grateful for this. It's going to sound really weird, but I wouldn't change it. I'm glad I went through this, because for a greater purpose, and the greater purpose is also to make sure that she never does this to somebody else. And that's what I'm after at this point. I really want to see her get help. I wish her the best. I don't wish her any ill will. I have been extremely angry at her at certain points. But when it all comes down to it, I just want her to get help. I don't want her to ever do this again. And if that happens, we can all move on, and there's silver lining in this somewhere. I've learned what I need to learn. I'm a better person for it. And we can all kind of just walk away. Will she face repercussions that are out of my control? Sure, probably. But like, I just pray that she steps up and just says, I messed up. Because that's the real only thing at this point that I think she can do and still maintain her own reputation. And I hope she chooses that, but I don't know what's going to happen.
This has obviously all been very traumatic.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry that you have had to go through all of this. I remember seeing things when this first came out.
Mhm.
I remember reading stuff that she was saying or you were saying. I don't know how much of it was true, but my question to you is, do you have any regrets? Do you regret how you handled any situation with her? Do you regret anything you said to her in the heat of the moment? Do you feel like it was all justified?
I kind of feel like what you're asking is, did she put out early on, she cherry picked stuff and said like, he said these things. I don't know if you're referencing that. So people are like, I can't believe he said these things to her. As far as I know,
or maybe nothing specific, but just as you reflect on this, what have you learned? What would you have done differently?
Okay.
If you could do anything differently?
Yeah, I definitely said some things in the heat of the moment that my emotions got the best of me. And going back, I would have, I would have stopped engaging so much on while I had her, because I blocked her early on, but they would go to a block folder. But then I was like, I need to document this just in case, like this, because she keeps going with this. So I just kept documenting, and she realized that when she sent me visual images, that's when she'd get a response out of me. So I would go like months without responding to her, and then all of a sudden she'd send a visual image, and that would get to me. Like that triggered me, and then I'd send these emotional messages. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, you could always be better. You could always handle a situation with more class, and I could have just stopped the keyboard fingers at certain points. But I let my emotions sometimes, overtake me. And yeah, I think I could. Now moving forward, I think I've learned a lot. I'm like, again, you need to just stay calm and react emotionally when the facts are right in front of you, when you have to react. But, all this projection into the future and all that, until it's a reality, you shouldn't really be spending a lot of time dwelling on and letting certain emotions out. Just let it be what it is at the moment, and then react accordingly. So it's been a lot. And I think I got all of it out there. I know I definitely was back and forth. It's so hard when it's 8 months of things, and it's hard to keep it all on a timeline as far as when she said this or that. But I think, I feel comfortable and confident that I got out what I wanted to. I just want people to know the truth. I'm not a liar. I never have been. I felt it was really nice of Susie to say, again, I always want to shout her out because, I actually have really good ex-girlfriends in general. Susie, and then the one I dated before her.
We're big fans of Susie here.
Yeah. But I've always had really, really great ex-girlfriends, supportive, which has been awesome. But she's came out recently, and her and I, we talked months ago, and she on the phone, and she's like, tell me what happened. I told her, and she's like, I believe you. I don't even need to know. I fully believe you. She has great support, and she's an incredible human being. And she came out on something recently, a podcast or somebody, and she said, one thing about Clayton is he's not a liar.
It might have been this one.
Was it yours?
Yeah.
Might have been. But I saw
Pretty
that.
sure.
I saw that clip, and it meant a lot to me because she's willing to go to bat, and she's like, listen, Clayton might be a lot of things. He might do some things wrong, but he's not a liar. And I stand by that. And that's one thing I've never been. I have been way too honest for my own good sometimes. A lot of times
we've seen
everyone's seen it. But I really mean well. And if I ever make mistakes, I do try to own up to them. Sometimes, again, when I came off the show, I was definitely very defensive, and I had my ego was unchecked, and I was, trying to defend myself. And yeah, I did a lot of explaining. But I learned through that because people wouldn't let it go. And thankfully they didn't, because I realized in all that, there's perspectives other than my own, and I have to take accountability. And so I feel that I'm in a good spot. Again, I'm not perfect, but I feel that I've grown a lot, but I have no reason to lie. I would have stepped up to the plate had this actually been true. And so it would never have had to have gone public if it was true. I would have just stepped up to the plate and been like, okay, I'll be a father now if this is true. Like, I'm 30. What do I have to be afraid of? I mean, it's an age where I can handle it. So, it's been great to have the support, and shout out Susie for being a real one. She's been a great ex-girlfriend, and I wish her nothing but the best. And I think she's happy. She seems pretty happy. She might be. Well, we won't go into the Susie talk, but she might be dating somebody at this point. But I wish her nothing but the best. And we'll always be friends. Like, we'll always care for each other. But obviously, I know that, like, we both know there's a point where, like, we can't, continue talking. But she was in my corner when she always needed to be, and has helped me become a better person. So I really appreciate her for that.
Okay.
It's probably a good note to end on.
I think so.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for letting me get this out there. I really respect you, both of you, but I think you and I have, it's, you've always kept it real with me. I always appreciate that. You really do keep it real with people. And I think that's where there was times where I was, very annoyed with some stuff you said.
I've been a critic.
But but like, okay, you have every right to have an opinion, and I don't have to like everything you say. But
I've had your back though.
You have,
yeah.
And I will say that I've seen some clips recently, and you have, and I'm grateful for that. You keep it real, so thank you. Not many people do. So,
well, I am sorry you're going through this.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time to sharing your side of the story, and I hope it accomplishes what you wanted to.
Whatever's meant to be will be. So,
I wish you nothing but the best, Clayton. Just from where I stand, you seem like you have grown a lot since we were watching you on ABC The Bachelor. And I do think from personal experience, life really truly is all about resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever happens, I think it seems like you have the right mindset. And I think you will overcome this. And, unfortunately, life is not fair. Unfortunately, life brings us things that we don't expect and we can't believe happens to us, but it's how we respond and how we overcome and move on. And I'm glad that you are taking this mindset to stay present and move forward, and I think you'll be better for it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, it's been a very much of a learning experience, but I think I'm better for it, and I think a lot of people can learn from this as well. And again, whatever's meant to happen will happen at the end of it. So yeah. Thank you guys for the platform to do this, and it's great to finally meet you in person.
Likewise. Well, thank you guys for listening. Obviously, a very heavy episode. We appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we thank Clayton for sharing his side of the story. We will see you next time on the Viall Files.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.